Well, gosh, that's a high tower. That's incredible. That's incredible 3D rendering right there. I can't believe David Lightbringer commissioned artist Chitan Biswas to create a few stone fortress and a high tower like that. That's a gift to the whole community right there. Truly incredible works. The works of Othor of the High Tower, if that is his name. Speaking of names, these fine folks here on the screen, these are our patron supporters, and we do appreciate it. Speaking on behalf of David Lightbringer, Reading Rhaegar, and all the other folks that make this channel possible. So we do appreciate you. We also appreciate folks like here with 1,000 Voices and Grey Waste Tim, or the people that come on the channel, and we do appreciate you in chat. And so, here we are, folks. Happy Halloween. It's Nimble Dick. It's here with 1,000 Voices, and I got bad news. Sean threw my back out. So I got a little heating pad on my back here, so just be patient if I'm a grumbling and groaning. Threw it out earlier this week. I was hauling firewood to burn some squisher corpses. It just went hunting in the bayou, skinned some squishers, and built a bonfire, burned the dead so the nasty diseases can't spread. You know how it is, Sean.
He actually threw his back out carrying the last stream. But, yeah, it was... Now that's a knife.
Well, this is a machete, and that's, I think that's Japanese. No, wait, no, that's not Jap. It's an Indian word. But in any case, it's a big sharp knife, and it's what you need to fight them squishers.
Yeah, sorry guys, I didn't burn the books. They're packed up. I'm moving places in about 2 weeks, so I've packed up a lot of the things that I'm not going to be using on a day-to-day basis. Sorry about the background. A little sparse, but the books
should have had Grey Waste Tim on this channel. He would have worn 7 costumes throughout the live stream, all of them related to the King in Yellow, but instead we got you here. But I'm happy to hear about your move, Sean.
Yeah, well, I'm wearing a nice, warm, dark coat as a member of the Night's Watch, but I'm secretly green.
I see. That's a bit of a stretch, but we will accept it. Thank you. There is some thought put into that.
Most of my costumes are also packed, although I do have one ready for the Silmarillion.
Well, it's clearly your Mountain Dew shirt, clearly a reference to John Barleycorn, whose blood we drink as beer. So that's sort of similar to a Mountain Dew that you drink, being a green man. And in any case, all right. I guess I probably shouldn't do this the whole stream.
Lose your voice.
I've already lost like half the audience on the rewatch. I'm going to keep the hat, though. I kind of like that. I'll go back to my normal sunglasses here. So now this is David Lightbringer borrowing Nimble Dick's hat, just so we have context. Hi, friends. Keep the hat. Yeah, I will. The mustache does kind of enhance the Nimble Dickness, doesn't it? No, I won't. It's actually not a hard voice to do. It's right from upbringing, and I can basically pull it out. I did do a whole live stream once as Nimble Dick, lay out the Great Squisher Conspiracy, so you can check that out if you want. I might lapse back into it from time to time, it seems like, Sean.
As long as it feels natural,
Oh, it's natural.
I may lapse into Mountain Dew over here.
If it's like a gator skin pair of pants, real tight in the crotch area, but that's part of the appeal, you see.
That's how Nimble Dick goes clubbing.
That's right. Nimble Dick done pretty well at the club a time or two. Anyway, so in all seriousness, I guess we should tell people what we're doing here. Other than this, we are here to talk about a continuation of the Cold Hands video. As you can see, there were some green Watchmen that were cruelly cut from the script of the David Lightbringer's Cold Hands video. There was literally 15 minutes of video that I performed, edited down, and was getting ready to do the pictures for it. And by the time we were 35 minutes into Cold Hands, I was like, this is too much. This is like a symbolism, shotgun blast to the face. And I don't know that that's good for people. So I basically just talked about Jon and Sam and Cold Hands as having, Night's Watchmen with Green Man symbolism. However, there's like a big long list, big old list of Night's Watchmen who are also like green men. And then Sean has kindly prepared the symbolism on the rest of the watch. And so we will basically be doing the symbolism of the watch with a focus on green man stuff. But this will be fun because we're basically going to take apart the name of every watchman and just see what George has left for us. Because you know how he is with names. There's always stuff there. The sigils of the houses, a quote or two with those characters. So if you like Night's Watchmen, you know, waiting for Dywyn or Deaf Dick Follard or Gren to have his moment, then today is the day. And yeah, so that's what we're doing today. And thank you for watching the Cold Hands video. It is rocking and rolling. I figured you guys would like that. So
I did. And speaking of videos, I put out my own video today. It just about 16 minutes ago, my Egyptian mythology Dune video came out. So please watch that after the stream or at some point, whenever. I don't care when, but be nice.
Well, the mods are already dropping that hyperlink into the chat. It's called a hyperlink, kids. That's what we used to say. And that is in the chat. You can check out Sean's video. That's hot topic, and it's hot off the presses, so you're going to want to see that. I really can't do this all day.
I'm very excited about it, and I have a companion video on Greek mythology and Dune on my Patreon. But yeah, very, very excited about the Watchmen. Love the Cold Hands video. He's my favorite. And the rest of the Night's Watch deserve justice. And the Night's Watch is all about justice.
Yes, we'll try to bring some justice to the Watch today. They are George's lovable bunch of ragtag misfits, bastards and outcasts and things like that. So let me just get a little more supported in the lumbar area. There's going to be no line between the Nimble and the Dave, but it's Halloween, so you know.
It's how you distract yourself from your lower back issues.
That's what, if I'm going to complain, I figured I'd just do it in a Southern accent. I shouldn't even say Southern accent. It's just like garbled redneck, but a proper Southern accent has a little more dignity. That's not what I'm going for. So, yes, as we were saying, green men from the Watch. It's not just Sam and Cold Hands and Jon. The first couple of people we want to deal with before we get into the Watchmen are two people who lead the Watch. Stannis and Patchface, obviously. Stannis comes to the wall and basically leads the Watch. He saves their ass in a battle. So he's basically like leading the forces of the Watch against the forces of the North, who are the wildlings there standing in for the others. And then he sort of, puts the Night's Watch in a room, locks the doors and says, pick a damn Lord Commander. Make sure he's someone that likes my agenda. He tried to co-opt Jon. And then he's taken the Night Fort as his seat, obviously. So,
yeah, lots of Night's King stuff going on with Stannis. He fought north of the wall. He fights the wildlings. He's going to go fight south of the wall against the king in the north. So it's like,
and he took that invading force into the woods against Asha, and those were a bunch of Northmen dressed like trees, but with really icy symbolism. So it was kind of like Stannis leading an army of others as Night's King down on the land. Yeah, and Night's King, of course, was a Night's Watchman.
Right, and he had the wildlings beyond the wall and the king in the north ally against him, so he fought against both of them, and that's what Stannis has done. So, and aside from that, he does actually coordinate directly during that battle beneath the wall. He works with the Rangers coming from Eastwatch, and he has them as part of his plan to draw out the wildlings. So he is commanding Night's Watchmen quite literally at points.
And Stannis' symbolism, of course, it's a doozy. It's kind of like the locus for Azor High as a burning green man or a hellish Weirwood user, incarnating the burning tree itself. So Stannis has the stag sigil of Baratheon, which alludes to all the green man stuff, but it's encased in the fiery heart of R'hllor. And the language around it is like, as if the stag was trapped, in the burning heart or something like that. So definitely a fiery stag. And Stannis retains the Stagman symbolism, but flips everything to red and yellow, just as Renly takes the black and yellow stuff and flips it to the original green man colors by allying with Highgarden and adopting their green and yellow Summer King symbolism. So Stannis, some sort of burning tree or burning stagman, that's generally it. Also the heart wordplay. Heart tree, burning heart, the stag is a heart. So
yeah, well, I mean, his sigil is burning cold hands is what's going on.
Good way to put it.
Whether that's, something that we look at, like these undead skin changers being burned in order to become the undead skin changers they need to be in order to oppose the others, or whether that's more of a symbolic thing, that's kind of what's going to be happening.
And of course, then George shows us the cycle with Renly after his death, because of course he comes back to the Blackwater. And how does he appear, Sean?
He appears as the ghost of Renly, which is really Willis Tyrell, or was it Garland?
Garland, because he has the Garth name.
Right. Willis is the one who he's crippled, so he's not he's no ghost.
He's the heir to Highgarden.
Yeah, Garland Tyrell throws on Renly's armor and pretends to be Renly just to throw some confusion into Stannis' forces, namely the ones who recently came over from Renly. So, and it worked, and he killed 13 people, with one of them being the former King's Guard. So it was very, last
he killed
hero.
Jeor Mormont, whose sigil is like black ravens on a field of green.
Right, he's a Night Watch.
Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff going on there, but yes. And then the song about Renly's ride that was sung at the wedding further enhances it. Talks about Renly going down to hell and asking the Lord of Death for one more chance to go and right the wrongs. And so he goes to the Blackwater and defeats his evil brother and blows a kiss to Marjorie on the way back to hell or something like that. And then, of course, his appearance on the Blackwater was demonic. They were described as leading an army of demons. The fire was running on the gold of his antlers, so they look like burning antlers. And that's what I mean by Renly is kind of turning into Stannis here, the undead version of Renly. He's now a fiery stagman, half dead, resurrected. Stannis also has all that death symbolism. So that's just George showing us his weird version of the Oak and the Holly King cycle.
Right. Well, and it's kind of like if one of his themes is going to be reconciliation, another theme kind of interplaying with the horrors of war is that the escalation. So they're both, doing things that they kind of almost like you move up war crimes, right? Until you start committing abominations like turning the others loose, riding dragons and burning down cities, like things like that.
Fornicating with squishers, even.
Well,
that's an abomination.
Nimble Dick would know about that. But yeah,
I would never know about that, Sean. What are you implying?
I trust you with that knowledge, Nimble Dick.
Squisher maidens are lovely. Anyway, go ahead, carry on.
But yeah, it's the escalation. You first off, you're fighting, then you're fighting directly against your brother, then you actually swords out. One brother kills the other, brother kills him back. That's Oak and Holly King. Then, the undead. Now everybody's undead. We've committed all sorts of abominations. We're basically crimes against life at this point. And at some point, that cycle has to die instead of escalating. And that's where the reconciliation comes in.
And speaking of the green men killing each other, of course, Renly warring against Stannis. Stannis killed Renly first with the Shadow Baby. There's 3 Garths on the watch, and one of them kills the other. So, and we'll come back to Patchface in a second. But yeah. There's Garth Greenaway, Garth Greyfeather, and Garth of Old Town. Now, those names, all the names of these zombie watchmen, they're green man symbolism, but there's always going to be this death shroud or deathly version of it. So Garth Greenaway, get the green away from me. I'm dead now. I'm a dead Garth, like Coldhands. Garth Greyfeather. Gray is the color of death and corpses and the Starks and things like that. No color leached out of the world, land of death. And then Garth of Old Town, a little more cryptic, but it makes you think of all the Old Town occult stuff tied to the Bloodstone Emperor and the Fewstone Fortress. And then it is Garth Greyfeather. I put Garth G, but two of them are Garth G. Which one is it that kills Garth of Old Town? I think it's Garth Greenaway.
So Garth Greenaway kills Garth of Old Town.
Okay.
Garth Greyfeather survives. Garth Greenaway is probably killed by Cold Hands.
Yeah. Garth Greenaway is one of the Weirwood totems, isn't he? Yes.
Weirwood totems, but he was a mutineer.
Oh, it's Garth Greyfeather.
Yeah, Garth Greyfeather is later on with Blackjack Bulwer
and Harry Hal. Okay.
That's right. Yeah.
There it is. So basically, you've got these three Garths on the watch, which is super, like, once you notice it, it's like, okay, that's obviously a thing. We had three Baratheons dressing up as Garth in the main story. Two of them are killing each other. And then here we have three Garths on the watch, and two of them are killing each other. Even Robert also has the same symbolism. He's doing a lot of Green Man stuff, but then he's also the demon of the Trident.
Well, and you know, it's not the only place we see it. Like the Starks, there are three brothers. You have, you know, Rickon, Bran, and Robb, and they're all doing Green Man stuff. Yeah, I mean, I like this so much. Another thing maybe to focus on here is that it's not super common in the series for the names of peasant folk and lords to overlap. You have a lot of Garths in the Reach. A lot of Garth Hightowers, Garth Tyrells. You have a lot of Garth Gardeners historically. But we're seeing people who are just regular people. Presumably, these guys are not from noble houses. At least there's no information that we have that they are. So the fact that, you know, there's some name commonality, that's not something we see a lot. George really, really wanted Garths to be in the Watch.
Yeah, and like you said, Resurrected Renly, that's Garland Tyrell. So that's a Garth Renly that's resurrected. Now, Zune is talking about the Baratheon brothers. Could they potentially show us, you know, spring, summer, autumn? Not really. I see it as winter and summer, and they're all doing the cycle. You know, Robert, when we meet him, he's like kind of corrupt. It's like very end of summer. He's talking about Summer King stuff, but he's about to die. Summer's about to end. And the theme of his realm is corruption. So he is like a corrupt summer that's about to end. That's his role in the story. Bran is going to be the Summer King that's like bringing the spring back, you know, restoring things, to echo that. And then with Renly, I guess you could call Renly spring in that like he's young, but it's basically straight up Summer King symbolism from Renly. And then you get the death resurrection stuff that we just talked about. Go ahead.
It is. He's all summer. His nights are called the Nights of Summer. Right. This is like, what's that 80s song, The Boys of Summer? It's exactly what's going on. These people, most of them don't have any actual war experience. Even the older ones have very limited experience in Robert's Rebellion because there weren't a lot of battles as they just besieged Storm's End. So where you have the grizzled Northerners who fought in Robert's Rebellion, you have, you know, all these people with a lot of fighting experience. It's different in the Reach. These people, it's all about life and fertility. And anyway, yeah, it's
and Stannis as a Winter King or dead Green Man, everything with Stannis is emaciated and starving. He had to withstand a siege and eat boot leather and rats and things. Then he got to take over Dragonstone, which is a bleak, cold, desolate island instead of Storm's End, which he's always grumbling about. Then he goes to the north and starves some more. You know, his whole plot is just like, shadows. He's basically an honorary Stark. He's got all the underworld stuff. You even get the word Stark used to describe him a couple times, I think.
Yeah, well, and this is like one of your early podcasts. This is something you drew attention to. The first thing Robert does in the series is he goes north. He goes straight north, and he goes straight into the crypt at Winterfell. He's so his laugh is, he has
a good old ho ho ho, which is of course the devil's bluster. It's you want.
Right.
Can you explain that one?
Yeah, it's in medieval plays. Basically, they wanted you to know when the devil was on stage because sometimes he was shape shifting and sometimes he had costumes on and he was
That
sneaky. So
mean
they
old
wanted
devil's tricksy one. That's the deceiver right there. Go ahead, Sean. Sorry.
no, you're good. But yeah, they wanted the audience to know when the devil was on stage, when it was the devil in disguise or whatever was going on. You're supposed to know that it's the devil. And so every time he come on stage, he goes, oh, just to let you know, the devil's bluster. And that later became something that was part of Santa as ho, 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 because they're basically extracting the two halves of the Green Man. You have the chubby Santa Claus. He gives out gifts because he's got all this plenty, even in the winter. And then you've got, if Pan were red, right?
Right. The goat horned Satan character. They both are from Green Man folklore, essentially, which itself is a very murky ball of folklore that no one knows where it came from. But yes, so essentially, Patchface saying "oh oh oh" is the devil's bluster, and Santa saying "ho ho ho" is a flipped version of it. So at first, Patchface just seems like a weird Santa. He's got the red and green patchwork. He's got the horns, which get even more entertaining when he goes north of the wall because he redoes his whole costume with like pelts and skins. And so he looks even more like a green man at that point. He's got antlers and skins and stuff. And then the key line with Patchface, when Jon is talking about leading the ranging to Hardhome, Patchface jumps up and says, "I will lead it. We will march into the sea and out again. Under the waves we will ride seahorses, and mermaids will blow seashells to announce our coming. Oh, oh, oh." And so it's Jon, actually, who in the next line says, "I will not ask my men to do what I would not do. I mean to lead the ranging." So Patchface is offering to lead the watch. And they're going to go into the sea and out again. But of course, we know that the sea, especially in scenes like this, is symbolizing the green sea astral realm that the green seers swim in, the green sea. Shout out Ravenous Reader. And so what Patchface is saying is that in order to go to Hardhome, to lead a ranging to the north, we've got to get a bunch of watchmen to go into the sea and out again. So they need a Weirwood resurrection or a Skinchanger resurrection, like Patchface as a horned god wearing a bunch of skins. It's like, yeah, let's do a green seer resurrection, and then we can go north of the wall, and I'll lead the ranging. So that's telling you the leader of the watch, resurrected Skinchanger with antlers. Like, that would be a good person to lead the watch. And then, Sean, will you go into the rest of Patchface's symbolism and also say whatever you were going to say?
Sure. Well, and I mean, it's perfect that he does the devil's bluster at the end of that because the werewood net or the green sea, whatever, however you want to refer to it, it is a type of afterlife. So this is like, the devil is ruling the underworld, hell. Of course, if Patchface is talking about bringing everybody into the green sea and out, the devil's bluster fits there very well because he's doing devil things. But yeah, we have a whole bunch of symbolism for Patchface. First off, he's called Patchface because he literally has a patchy face. He has, red and white squares just to reinforce his motley as a fool. But, obviously that's doing something extremely specific. The red and white motley, aside from the fact that it is, tattooed on just to symbolize that he is a slave, which is another important part of his symbolism. The red and white,
Red and green.
with him being a green man.
Red and green, not red and white.
Or sorry, yeah, red and green. It's Christmas stuff, right? It's the colors of Christmas. It's the colors of Santa. And even older than that, it's what Santa is heavily based on.
It's
Thor.
the Holly King, yeah.
Right. So,
It's
you
mistletoe.
have Thor wearing a bunch of green and red, riding in a chariot. It was pulled by goats instead of reindeer, but the idea is very similar. So, it's...
And so Patchface, there's also a layer of symbolism with his origins, because originally he was a child who could sing and do magic. He was so talented, and he could sing and do magic. And then he went into the sea and died and came out again. And now he's this horned god figure who's much more dark. He's giving prophecies of doom constantly. And he's kind of mad now, like a shaman or something. So that's kind of the idea with Patchface.
Well, and as you've always said, yeah, there's a layer here that's a lot like Aeron Greyjoy.
Yes, exactly. Like literally, these people are prophets of the Squishers. Like that's where Aeron and Patchface are getting their visions from, the deep ones, like if we're talking literally. But if we're talking symbolism, these are prophets who they're doing a very Odin-like thing where they are walking with one foot in the death realm, one foot in the realm of madness, and they're trying to translate this madness of the gods into the human realm. And it is a little hard to understand, but people recognize they have power, in various ways, more so with Aeron, but people are afraid of Patchface, and Melisandre sees Patchface in her vision, so we know he is significant.
Yes, everything about Patchface screams, this is not an appropriate babysitter.
That's true. That's very true. But the symbolism is important, of course. And then somebody asked about Garth the Gross and what's going on with that. There's a lot of green men who go the gross way. I mean, Robert Baratheon, he is a disgusting womanizer who seeks out virgins in brothels and doesn't even take care of them afterward, pays them no mind whatsoever. And he's ruling a corrupt realm. He's not paying attention to the embezzlement. And he just wants to drink and fight and with his best buddy as if he was 22. And he's in his late 30s. So he's very much a fat, corrupt Garth. And not that fat people are corrupt. I'm sorry, poor language. George has I don't know if he's got a little self-hate issue there going on, but a lot of times he does use, like Aegon the Unworthy gets very corrupt and he is very grotesquely fat. We also have lovable fat people too, like Wyman Manderley, who's quintessentially a good character. So,
and he's the goddamn vengeance. I love it. But
and fat Walder Frey is like just a beautiful soul. Obviously, like even Roose, it softens on her. Like if you could soften Roose.
Well, and I don't know if it's self-hate. I think it's just he's messing with the idea that this is the archetype that you engage in plenty in every aspect of yourself in its fertility. So yes, you're having too much sex and you're not careful about it. As you get older, that starts to be a problem. Fertility gods do not translate to real life. You're eating all of this plenty and handing out all of this plenty. It's like, yes, that's nice. But as you get older, that means you'll start to put on weight. You're handing it all out. That means the realm is going to go into debt. You can't just do that forever. So it's kind of the real world consequences of living as if you were a fertility god.
And to your comment, XG, and he's asking, is the body rejecting the green seerism in a sort of way, because he's coughing too. Think about it like this. Green seer magic is power, and it's power that humans can get their hands on. And George is always going to depict any source of power like corrupting people in different ways before he shows one person threading the needle to like use power in a responsible way, because that's freaking rare in the world, okay? Like, just look around you. It is rare to find people with power who are not corrupt. So Garth coughing and being sick, like that's the corruption of power. Same thing with Robert. And same thing with Aegon the Unworthy. He's probably the best example.
Yeah.
The High Septon too. Like he's obscenely fat, but he's also super corrupt. So it's not just, that's yeah. I guess it's George messing with the archetype, showing different people with it. Like I said, Wyman Manderley doing a different thing. Wyman Manderley's got great symbolism too, but we can't go to White Harbor, Sean. We'll wreck the stream if we go to White Harbor.
No, but we have good examples among the Night's Watch. If we could skip them later, but it's probably a good time to mention Septon Celador if we're going down that road. Like, this is a guy he's a drunk. He's a little bit chubby, and his name Celador, it's a play on, I think you brought this up before, but it's a play on cellar door being the favorite phrase of linguists, especially J.R.R. Tolkien. So like he has a bunch of characters that play with that sound, like Salador San.
So that's some old literary thing that like there's an idea that the phrase cellar door is the most beautiful phrase in the English language, like audibly cellar door. And so it's something that like lit nerds turned me on to. I had no idea, but I think George is riffing on it by having Sept and Celador, Salador San. Yeah, it's something. I don't know.
It's definitely a thing, and Tolkien, J.R.R. Tolkien has talked about it.
That's why. Okay, well that explains it then.
That's why George can do it. But but a cellar door is also great symbolism. Like you're talking about going into an underworld realm. The cellar door is literally going down into the earth. So
right. So Sept and cellar door. It's like, this is a psychopomp priest figure that's going to let you into the or out of. And of course, Sam. We're talking about characters that George is self-inserting into, body weight commentary. With Sam, it's more about him being a coward. He perceives himself to be a coward. And he's more, I think he's more self-conscious about his weight under the umbrella of like, he's made fun of for just not being as manly as Dickon or whatever, by his father. But like George is showing us that even though Sam thinks he's a coward, he's constantly doing brave stuff. So, it's kind of a thing where George is showing people dealing with their self-image and maybe gradually coming around to the idea of having a more positive self-image with the help of people like Jon, who's telling him, look, no, don't say you're a coward. You were brave. You did this and you're doing another brave thing. So I command you not to call yourself a coward.
Yeah,
it's pretty touching. Go ahead. Sorry.
Buddy needs some therapy because, he's obviously internalized a lot of things that his dad has told him. Because like you've said, he's done some objectively brave things. But even when he talks about it, he's like, Gilly made me brave. Well, not brave, but brave for me. And it's like, no, you fought an other. You fought whites. Like you were very brave. Other people literally pissed their pants and then couldn't move and died. We saw that on the Fist of the First Men. And so it's really just about Sam kind of coming into his own. And that is something that is starting to happen now that he's got some distance from his father.
Michaela is saying in Elden Ring, there are some enemies that are like super rotund and they're notable for having gravity or influence over others. So there's even like a magical property to it. That's interesting.
Interesting. Yeah.
And
I need to play.
And then there was something else in the chat. Let's see. Of course, Hodor is going to hold the door. Oh, River Mist Fae, White Harbor symbolism stream when? Well, we've gone at that a couple different ways. We've done a reread of Davos's, chapter there in the prison. And we did a stream after all the Ironborn streams. I did one about the Merlin King and the Drowned God or something. And I think we did a bunch of stuff there. But it's been a couple years, so maybe we could do a symbolism of White Harbor. There is a lot to talk about, especially them coming from the Reach and all their different things. That'd be pretty fun.
Well, and there's a throw it on the pile of Lord of the Rings type stuff going on. It's like there's the Grey Havens, and then there's there's this harbor in Valinor with the Teleri, and there's a whole kinslaying incident involved in it. But yeah, the basic idea is there's a beautiful white harbor in Valinor where Feanor and them steal ships and then go back to go fight Morgoth. But yeah, it's more Lord of the Rings stuff. It's also heavily based on Newcastle, which we've talked about before, Newcastle upon Tyne.
And then there's the fact that it's also White Arbor, like a white tree. And there's the White Knife River, which gives us dawn symbolism. Like there's so much. There really is a lot of symbolism at White Harbor. So we probably could do that. That would be cool. Yeah. So getting back to the script here, we've covered Patchface and Stannis. And of course, Patchface comes to the wall with Stannis. So they're both giving you kind of Stagman, impromptu leader of the Watch stuff. And, Patchface is just sort of the ridiculous version of it. But that going into the sea and out again is really important for this whole conversation. That's it. That's the deal. I'm not dressed like no Crocodile Dundee. Good Lord, Miss Darkstar. This is my Nimble Dick costume. I've been around much longer than Crocodile Dundee. And also not a knife. He's from Australia anyway. That's different swamp. Although I do respect his relationship with the gators and the crocodilians, because that is similar, but no.
Look, is he partway through the process of skinning himself a lizard lion suit? Yes. That does not make him crocodile.
That's why it smells so bad in here. It's right over in the bathroom there on the floor. Yeah. I got to open a window, actually.
Threw out his back fighting a gator.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is I was working on it a few days ago, then threw up my back. So now I'm just letting it sit on the floor to start to rot and molder a bit. But we'll get back to it. Stinky dish feet, deep ones, the fishy damp smell. Pants check. No, what I'll give you is a back brace check. Show you my back. It's all injured. Oh, because I got the heating pad. Got my Adidas on. Oh, Sean. Oh.
It's just, they're trying to see if you're caked up.
They just want to know if I'm wearing pants. We all know that.
I got the blur on.
Sorry, I didn't have my gator skin on there. Like I said, real tight in the groin area. All right, so where were we? Every time I lapse in a Nimble Dick, I forget where we are. You're trying to refocus.
Yeah.
You got to do stuff. Wave your arms around.
I think, I'm just going to, you go ahead and I'm going to disconnect and reconnect.
Okie dokie. Hey there. Oh, now I can see my plants. Nimble Dick's got a green thumb. That's right. Oh, there's Sean. He's back. That was quick.
All right. I'm a real boy.
Is this Lana Del Rey's husband?
He's like a swamp man from Louisiana or something, and he looks and dresses like it.
I was about to say, I guess I could do worse, in life.
I don't think he has quite the stash that you've got going, but it is kind of surreal to see him at events like the Met Gala.
Would that be kind of like, she's great, but like, I don't know if I'd want to be married to someone who's always singing sad songs and finding inspiration for sad songs. It's like dating Tom York or something, like.
Or like, you'd look at all the.
She's much prettier than Tom York, though. We got to say that.
Look at all the Swifties in the chat. They talk about how, she wrote the first half of the album and it was fire. And then, she got with Travis Kelce and she's actually happy. And so the second half of the album sucks.
Oh, I don't know. All the Swifties I know are pretty excited about the new album, but we're going to really destroy the chat if we bring that up. So I don't have, as I've said before, I do not have any actual opinions on Taylor Swift. I do not know enough to have an opinion. So
you would actually be very interested. There's a fair amount of symbolism in her lyrics. She's pretty good with that kind of stuff. She had a whole album called Folklore. So anyway,
that's cool. Well, folk music and folklore, there is a thing there that's got that word in common. So anyway, it's Halloween stream. We're keeping it a little loose, y'all. So okay, let's see here. Yeah, I don't think we're blaspheming against Lana Del Rey. Oh, maybe someone in the chat. Yeah, I would not. I certainly would not. No one's prettier than Tom York. Well, he has a beautiful voice. I'll say that. Okay, so next up we've got Bloodraven. Bloodraven used to lead the Night's Watch. He's a green seer. So that just kind of shows you, again, talking about the archetype of the Watch and the leaders of the Watch. Not only is he a green seer, he's also kind of half dead, which is, he's not exactly a white or a cold hand zombie, but he's definitely got 1 foot or maybe more than 1 foot in death's door.
Yeah, well, and you look at, how Patchface is kind of, he's got the red and green checker, right? So he's a green man, but the red stuff going on. It's the same thing with Bloodraven. Aside from the fact that his name is Bloodraven, he's a Targaryen. You're going to look at house colors. There's a lot of red there. But he's also, he's literally got a, red wine-stained birthmark on him and red eyes. So when we're mixing these colors, he's a green man. Literally, he's a green seer and Skinchanger. And he's got all this red symbolism because he's got that, red dragon-blooded aspect of the Weirwood net, and he's got the green man aspect of the Weirwood net. So that's what we're combining here. That's another reason for Patchface's symbolism.
Yeah, I know you Swifties are in the chat. Y'all are everywhere. That's why I won't say a bad word about Taylor Swift, because I know better. And my opinion on music in general is like any music that makes people happy is good, even if you don't personally care for it. So when I was young, I used to diss music a lot more. Now I'm kind of like a lot more, hey man, it's a dark world out there. Like whatever music you like, if it makes you dance and sing, then that's good stuff. So he's a king, kind of king under the mountain too. Who's that? Bloodraven? Yeah, I suppose so.
Yes.
Sean, take it away.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're under a hill, this is something that Tolkien played a lot with. He loved his kings under the mountain. He had a literal title of king under the mountain for Thorne, but he had the, Oathbreaker king under the mountain, who Aragorn brought all those dead people to the battle. At different points, Smaug says, I'm king under the mountain. There are a bunch of different kings under the mountain. And then there are a bunch of kind of symbolic kings who are not necessarily under mountains, but they're under things that are like mountains, like hills. And that's the alias that Frodo goes by when he's pretending he's not Frodo Baggins. As he treks through the Shire and through Bree, he goes by Mr. Underhill because he's a king under the mountain figure. And we see Gollum with his ring is a king under the mountain figure. They have that king goblin back when they still had those under the mountain. There's all these kings under the mountain, and it's something that he plays.
Hold on a second, Sean. Is Bloodraven and Bran a little bit of a twisted version of Gollum and Bilbo?
Yes, they're all twisted, isn't it? Of it because it's messing with Beowulf.
Okay, explain.
Grendel. So that's the Grendel figure. So Grendel and Grendel's mother are in a cave underground. It's an underworld location under a lake. So you have, Gollum in his little island on a lagoon under a mountain. Yeah, it's there's a bunch of
chat's pointing out Bloodraven definitely is sort of riddling in the dark. When he speaks to Bran, they're definitely dealing with riddles and things. Obviously, the key thing that's in the cave is the ring, which bestows the knowledge and the power. And that's what Bran is getting in this cave. It's the power and the knowledge of the gods. It's not a ring. It's a Weirwood roots that wrap around you. But yeah, it's the fire of the gods. It's in the cave. There's the lake. Yeah, that's funny. And of course,
there is more.
I was just going to say real quick, Bloodraven, very emaciated like Gollum, like doesn't look anything like he used to, right? He's now just this really skeletal, withered form that almost shouldn't be around still.
Right. Well, and he can't leave anymore. And that's a thing that kind of happens to Gollum, is that he's kind of trapped by the ring and his lifestyle under this mountain in this lagoon, and he doesn't leave. And not only that, but like, what are they eating there? They're both eating blind white fish. Gollum is eating the blind white fish in his little lagoon. Yeah, so it's
I think we're cooking here, Sean. I think we're cooking.
Oh no, I go into a lot of this, but yeah, we got to do a Tolkien stream at some point. George is really going hard with it all the time. But yes, they're under a hill. They've got the weirwood roots under a hill. The hobbits live under hills, most of them. Hobbit holes are literally tunnels under hills that are meant to make them kind of mini kings under the mountain. So that's the entire point of the Children of the Forest being, of the Hollow Hill. That's why the Brotherhood Without Banners are Knights of the Hollow Hill. It's under king under the mountain stuff.
So there's other things that are under mountains in Tolkien. The nameless things that Gandalf sees, I don't know what that is. Of course, there's also the Balrog under Moria.
Right. So, I mean, that's a lot of that is you have the Gaelic mythology, but it's also heavily Christian mythology. You have Gandalf, who's like an angel fighting somebody who's the same, a Maiar like him, but fallen, a Balrog. So it's like an angel and a fallen angel fighting as they fall through this bottomless pit all the way down to a lake beneath the earth. It's the Lake of Fire. So, and then they fight all the way.
Lake of Fire and Fry.
Then they fight to the highest peak because, when you have that angel versus fallen angel thing, it's like Michael versus Satan. So it's Morning Star versus Even Star. Satan is the original Morning Star. He becomes the Even Star. Michael becomes God's right hand and will fight Satan at the end of days. So it's yeah, a lot of that.
What's up, Greyways Tim in the chat? Greyways Tim will be here next week. We're going to talk about Meleys the Monstrous. So keeping the Halloween spooky theme going on. And by the way, my video this week is going to be Visenya Gecko Maegor the Mule theory, the unnatural conception of Maegor. I've talked about this forever, so I'm going to do that video this week. Melisandre's fate will be the following week, and after that, it's going to be Fire White Ghost, because that idea that Ghost is going to be fire whited, I started off as a what the heck, maybe, who knows. There's tons of evidence for it. It's happening. So I've got a video about that. So those are your next 3 videos. And then, like I said, Tim next week for Meleys the Monstrous. And in 2 weeks, I'm going to have Cam Caskey from the Bulwark back on. And we're going to do a little Winds of Winter theory iceberg. You know, do we like it? Do we hate it? Stuff with the chat. So that's what we got coming up next. But right. Yeah, what were we talking about? Monsters, right? I brought up Meleys. What did you say before that?
We were kind of, I think we were kind of finishing up on Kings Under the Mountain and kind of the Tolkien parallels that George is messing with, just because he's using a lot of the same archetypes.
Oh, I just saw Greyways Tim's name, and that's right, and got excited and did the promo. Right. That's right. Cameron was on. Which I think it was the ones where we did the political alignment of all the rulers of Westeros. He was on that one and one other. I forget which. But yeah, he's been on a couple times.
I think it was the Tyrion character stream, right? Does that sound right?
Yes. Thank you. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Yes, Ghost is going to be fire whited. Absolutely. And
Firefox.
What's that?
Firefox is back.
Firewolf, Direwolf, Hellhound. It's freaking everywhere. And then, yes, parthenogenesis, like a gecko or a Komodo dragon. That's what Visenya did. So we'll talk about that. That's going to be a nice free. Anything to talk about lizard babies, man. I'm always trying to go on about them damn lizard babies. I love them. They're so cool.
I want to know more for sure about why the Targaryens keep birthing babies with wings and tails.
Abomination. All right. Yeah, I mean, Shelby, you could say that. I can't say that on the stream. Reading Tolkien and then mythology is just repeatedly realizing that Tolkien fit in bits of every single Northern European myth. Yes, and George has just broadened the net. So a minute ago, somebody said Bloodraven is the whisperer in the dark, and how that's a reference to Lovecraft. Yes, it is. That's Nyarlathotep, I believe. And so basically, what George does is he notices confluences in various stories. So if he's doing an underworld scene, he's going to think about all his favorite underworlds and like borrow different ideas and mash them together. So we're very familiar with that technique. That's why nothing in Ice and Fire is ever a 1-to-1. But it's so fun to come up with new layers or to find new layers to stuff. Like, oh, there's this Tolkien layer in the Ironborn stuff that we found. Well, that was fun.
There's obviously a huge Tolkien layer to the Night's Watch itself. They are rangers in the north.
Yeah, let's do this whole thing. I should have put this in the notes. I forgot about this. I almost put this in the Ashai video when I was talking about Mordor and all that, but it was way too long. But yeah, there's a watch on Mordor. What's it called?
Are you talking about the Gondorian Rangers who are like at Ithilien, like with Faramir?
Yeah. They're basically a watch on Mordor, are they not?
Yeah, they are Rangers. And
it's called the Watch on Mordor. Okay.
Is that what it's called? Yeah, I didn't remember. But yeah, that's what it is.
That's why you couldn't think of the fancier name. There is not.
They're based at Ithilien. What's happening when we see him is that Osgiliath is being destroyed, and they're trying to make sure that doesn't happen and kind of harry Sauron's forces. But they're kind of like an imitation. Faramir is like a lighter Aragorn archetype. Everything about him is kind of diet Aragorn. And so he's a ranger of Ithilien. Aragorn is a ranger of the Dunedain. He's one of from the tribes of the Rangers of the Far North. So, he's a secret king who learned how to be a ranger in the Far North, blah, blah, blah. That's Jon. So there's obviously a lot of commonality there, complete with even secret names, because, he has his elven name, Estelle. He goes by Strider. We learn he's Aragorn later. Jon has a secret name. I think it's Aemon. But there's a lot of that in Jon. Obviously, Samwell Tarly, everybody clocked that very early, that he's a Samwise Gamgee figure. And I love the symmetry of the scene where Small Paul is carrying him. Because the Fist of the First Men, we've talked about this before, how the Fist of the First Men is playing the role of a volcano. It shoots out fire arrows. It has obsidian glass on it, which is a volcanic rock. So and they're walking away from the volcano. And so Small Paul is carrying Samwise when Samwise carried Paul up the volcano. So yeah, it's kind of the reverse of that. Plus, his name is Paul, so he's a Paul bearer, which is a horrible pun. But yeah, that's good. We've got Pip and Gren, who are a play on Peregrine, who's called Pippin Took, or Pip, from the Fellowship, obviously.
Is the fist like Weathertop? It sure is, isn't it?
It is.
They get attacked by the others, just like on Weathertop. It's very similar.
It's one of the things it's doing for sure, because they get attacked by the Nazgul, a bunch of undead, at Weathertop. And it's a former, it's.
And the Nazgul look like others when you see them in the Shadow Realm, or is that just in the movie?
No, that's true. So there is a kind of metaphysical realm. He doesn't talk about it a ton, but basically you can see that Sauron's corrupted. But yeah, there are some things only certain figures can really see in it, and some people look really powerful. It's why they didn't bring Glorfindel in the Fellowship of the Rings. He's basically the most powerful figure in Middle-earth aside from Sauron, and they didn't bring him because he's basically a giant, ping on the map of here's where we are, because he's so visible in the metaphysical realm.
So Zune, part of the Visenya gecko theory is that Aegon had no children. That's part. It's like it related ideas that Rhaenys sired Aenys with one of her singer friends because Aegon was shooting blanks. And then Visenya had to use sorcery. So yeah, that's all part of this theory.
Yeah. So yeah, there's I got off topic with Glorfindel.
Oh, good point. Maegor becomes an Immaculate Conception, and Visenya is like the Virgin Mary. That makes sense because Maegor is basically the Antichrist. He rules for 6 years and 6 months and 6 days or whatever it is. So yeah, I'll put that in the script. Nice hat tip. Who was that said that? Clover Azar. Thank you very much.
Oh yeah, Clover Azar has been here forever. But yeah, I got off track with Glorfindel. But yeah, the idea is you're talking about Weathertop, which was the watchtower of Amon Sul, and it had a palantir, and there was a whole lot going on there. It used to be a very sought after fortress. It was fought over by the 3 successor kingdoms of Arnor as a whole thing. But the short answer is yes, it's a lot like the Fist of the First Men.
Very cool. I'm just jotting this down somewhere here. Boom. Okay, so Maegor is like Caligula after his coma. Yeah, I mean he's like basically all the worst kind of characters and leaders like that you could think of.
Before and after his coma.
And there was, let me just check my super chats again. I feel like there was one I missed. Nope, we got them all. Very good. Okay. Thank you, folks. Appreciate y'all. So, yeah, so Bloodraven, it's almost not even symbolism. He's just sort of showing you what the leader of the Watch should be, a skin changer. And not only is there like Jon's a skin changer, Patchface is showing us Green Man, leader of the Watch. Stannis is showing it to us. What was I going to say? Jeor Mormont. Let's talk about him.
Oh, yeah.
He's obviously from House Mormont. Everyone knows House Mormont. Bear skin changers. Their women lie with bears. That's factual. And and Jorah. Go ahead.
Oh, and it works. They have half bear babies.
That's how you do it. It's the diagram. And then of course, Jeor, even though he's not a skin changer, or at least not an activated one, he does have the raven on his shoulder all the time, as if he was a skin changer. So it's just a way of George showing us, Lord Commander of the Watch, guy with the raven on his shoulder, kind of like Odin. And then bears and wolves are related as far as like Norse mythology and their role in the forest and all that stuff.
Well, and yeah, it's the Odin, right? Because Odin is either a bear or a wolf or a man, and it's there. He messes around at other times, but you constantly see him doing those things, and you've gone into it a lot in your Ulfhednar and Berserkir comparisons of the various. So he's always being conflated with a one-eyed bear and a one-eyed wolf. And we see those in the series, and he's one of them. And he's got ravens on his shoulder, just like Odin. So it's not a stretch.
And the chat is setting you up here by bringing up Bjorn from Tolkien, who takes care of all the animals in the forest. I vaguely remember this. Can you refresh my memory?
Right. So Beorn is about the most transparent reference to Beowulf in the whole series.
Okay.
Beowulf, they're talking about it in the chat. Beowulf. So the idea is wolf became a kenning for hunter because wolves are natural hunters. So when you say bee wolf, you mean bee hunter, something that hunts bees, a bear. And the idea is like Beowulf is a bee hunter. He's a bear because he's so big and strong. He's this impossibly strong man. Beowulf, the bee hunter, the bee wolf. And Beorn is obviously linguistically similar, but he turns into a bear. He also keeps bees and grows honey. He's directly fighting wolves for damn near every scene you see him in. It's I go into it a lot more in my Tolkien series, but yeah, Beorn is doing a lot of Beowulf things. So is Thorin. It's Tolkien's favorite property ever.
So just a quick reminder, if you are into more of this type of Tolkien analysis, both to Ice and Fire and other things, subscribe to Sean's channel and check out his Patreon. That's where you'll find it.
Yeah, although those specifically where I go into that is in my 2 YouTube videos about Tolkien and Beowulf.
And then, then we've got some other stuff. The sigil of House Mormont, green and black. That's basically dead green man, green boys rising as men in black of the Night's Watch. Like that's what they talk about with the oaths. Green boys, men in black. That's a resurrection ceremony. Going into the Green Sea and out again as a resurrected person. So, yeah, Mormont, it's like a black bear on green. Shout out California, I guess, California flag. The name Mormont, more as in death, mortality, morgue, mortuary, and mont is a mound. So death mound, like the Sidhe come from the mounds, burial mounds that are all over the north, etc., etc. Kurgans, basically. And the name Jeor is short of George. This is really funny. You know how George always says he's a gardener writer? The name George means gardener. It means earth worker or farmer. He's been making a word pun about his name this whole time.
Yeah, he's a big joke about determinism. But Jeor Mormont, another thing that he's doing, and the reason why he's spelled it so differently from his own name, is that between Jeor and Jorah and these various figures, who Jeor is at the wall, Jeor Mormont may end up at the wall, he's doing some Jormungandr stuff.
Correct.
So we look at the end of the world. The end of the world happens at the wall. It's part of the reason why we see this whole I'll go into the sea and out again thing. that you're going into the afterlife to go into the lands beyond the wall. It's because the wall is the veil of death and life. So, and that's literally its purpose when it's called the end of the world all the time, as if it were itself Ragnarok.
Yeah, so Jeor Mormont means farmer of the death mound, if you will. But he's bear skin changer, gardener of the death mound. Yeah.
Corrupted fertility motif there.
Yeah, it's really good stuff. It reminds us of Deepwood Motte, which is built on the mound of the first king, which is a Garth illusion.
Well, and Deepwood Motte is exactly the same in layout as the Fist of the First Men. And the scenes mirror each other, and that's very purposeful.
And the first thing Jon thinks about the Fist of the First Men is like, oh, the ghosts of the first men are here, so.
Yeah.
Then you've got Ser Jorah, who is Jorah's son, and he's got the demon mask now.
Yeah.
So he really is a demon, gardener of the death mound. And Jorah's dying wish is that Jorah would take the black and join the watch. And if he does that, which I kind of think he will, then he'll be a demon Mormont skin changer on the watch. So that's pretty great.
Yeah, I think it's probably a much better place for his arc to go. Unfortunately, on the show, they combined his arc with that of Jon Connington out of laziness. But it's, yeah.
And also, Jormungandr, as it translates into Ice and Fire, is a complex thing. So the Horn of Jormungandr, I feel like we should say Jormungandr instead of Joramun because of the reference. But the Horn of Jormungandr, it wakes giants in the earth. It's a Ragnarok horn. It might bring down the wall. It's doing all these apocalyptic things. But waking giants in the earth, that's a complex idea. But the Night's Watchmen blow the horn that wakes the sleepers. And the Night's Watchmen are the sleepers. They are the ones who resurrect and man the wall. So all the stuff about horn blowing and resurrecting and signaling the end of the world and waking sleepers, kind of all related concepts that have to do with Ragnarok and the Night's Watch zombies, or Odin's, I think it's Einherjar, his dead warriors. I think that's how you say it. Did you freeze or you just...
Oh, I might have frozen. Can you still hear me?
You did. Did I say it right?
Yeah. It's like the dead spearmen, but specifically, they're the chosen, right, of Valhalla. They were chosen by the chooser of the dead, the Valkyries, and
correct.
And you've gone into that for Arya, who's a big Valkyrie figure. But yeah, it's the Einherjar are undead. They feast every night in Odin's hall. Jeor Mormont is very much representing an Odin. They have this big hall at Castle Black where they eat all together, and they talk about how, they're no longer fertile because of their vows, and how this is basically a death sentence, and, they're basically dead. It's exactly Einherjar. And that's perfect because at Ragnarok, the Einherjar fight the army of the dead of Hela, the goddess of the underworld.
Right. So it's the whole idea of green zombies to fight the others. Very similar.
Right.
Yeah. It's really, one of my favorite things about trying to make theories of Ice and Fire is when I stumble upon an idea just following the book symbolism and then find out that that's exactly what's going on because George pulled it from Thundar the Barbarian, which has a red comet streaking by the moon and breaking it at the same time a guy gets a sun sword and has a bunch of skin changers help him battle the forces of darkness.
Oh God. It drives you nuts when you start to look at other properties too. Cause I watched this show called Dota. It's based on a video game, and they end up having moon meteors come down, cause a whole huge, cataclysm, and then zombies are born from the magical fallout of these moon meteors. It's very on the nose.
Very strong. So, could Mormont mean mountain in the moors?
Yes.
I'm not sure. It seems like you're trying to get at something, and I don't know what you're trying to get at. Like, why do you need a moor? Why are you looking for a reference to the moors?
That might also be a Beowulf thing.
Oh, I see.
Grendel.
Oh, right.
Misty Moor.
Or just like the idea that the werewolves, they're out on the moors. What movie is that from?
Well, it's also another big thing is that the Moors. That's what is the Sherlock Holmes one? The Hound of the Baskervilles with the demon dog, the fake demon dog, but it's a
Okay.
demon dog nonetheless. It's fantastic.
Odin had a title called Bolverk. Well, he had a lot of titles. What's that one mean? Okay, so those are the Mormonts. Let's go back a little bit. We've been jumping around.
Right.
We mentioned the Weirwood totems. There's 3 of them, so they're very much similar to the 3 Garths. All right. Werewolf in London. Okay, yeah. American Werewolf in London. That's what it is. Bolverk means bale worker, like hay bale, or like balefire.
That's too bad because I was thinking it was like like the Norse version of bulwark, but I don't think I need to actually look up these linguistic
Evil worker or doer of evil deeds. Okay, so bale is in balefire.
Okay.
So
yeah,
the 3
totems.
The Weirwood totems, they are Night's Watch, the heads of dead Night's Watch rangers. The Weeper killed them, so he carved their eyes out, and he mounted them on spears of ash wood. So ash wood spear gives us the ash tree, Yggdrasil, the cosmic axis. And you see there's a lot of spear stuff with all these Night's Watchmen. Dollar said, pick up the spear, death's not an excuse. The Scarecrow Sentinels, no, not Scarecrow Sentinels, the 79 Sentinels, they have the spears. Did you just say the Einhajar have their spearmen?
Right. Yar or Gar or whatever, like the word that almost all of our roots for warrior or whatever, Gar, Gare, war in French and all these other language. It's from the word for spear. It's originally spearman. So a Yar, Einhir Yar, it does have to do with spears. So but really, if you go back, all of the Proto-Indo-European roots here for warrior end up being basically spearman or spear. So it's
yeah, both Dollar said and Corin Halfhand are thin as a spear. So it's just a lot of spearman stuff.
And Jon, yeah. And Waymar Royce. But yeah, I mean, we look at these 3 guys. They're also blind. He's plucked out the eyes, which is very much a long night thing. We talk about how, all this dust in the atmosphere blocking out the sun. You can no longer see the sun can no longer see you. You can no longer see the moon can no longer see you. So the whole blindness is an aspect of the long night, and it's part of the reason for the cold. But this is also just very directly an Anglo-Saxon practice.
What? Blinding the eyes?
Oh, no, sorry. The heads on spears. Specifically ashwood spears. So they did this on battlefields, but more notably, they did it in their graveyards, like it marked graveyards. And that's a thing they do in Beowulf as well. They mark the edge of the lagoon or the lake that Grendel's mother, her cave is in. They mark it by putting the guy's head. His name is Ashir. He's an advisor, and it means ash tree. So like the guy is a obvious Yggdrasil symbol being placed on the tip of an ash spear, just his head. And yeah, it's very on the nose for the way that both
Interesting.
Of these authors look at.
So it's not just that Martin created this Weirwood totem with symbolism. He literally drew it from a Norse Yggdrasil totem, essentially.
Right. Yeah, it's Anglo-Saxon, it's Norse, it's Tolkien. It's also just makes a lot of sense.
So the ash spear, 8 feet tall, which is that would be a reference to like Sleipnir having 8 legs, because Yggdrasil is Odin's horse, just as Sleipnir is. So that's what I would guess with that. But the main thing is the heads. They're like Weirwood faces. They're snow white. They're covered with snow, so they're white faces. But they got the carved bloody eyes, red smile because they've been cut across the neck. And they are 3 Night's Watchmen. So this represents the idea of 3 Night's Watchmen who have been Weirwood killed, Weirwood resurrected, given to the Weirwoods, anything along those lines. And so the 3 Watchmen, their names are significant. 1, Garth Greyfeather, one of the 3 Garths. 2, Blackjack Bulwer, with the name Jack being a reference to Jack in the Green. And the Jack in the Green folklore, he is a character who basically hides a little bit of green through the winter, nurtures it, keeps it alive so that it can flourish in the springtime. And so the role of Jack in the Green, like the songs about him, he's lonely and he's in the winter, but he's like keeping the green alive. So you think of like the glass gardens at Winterfell as kind of that symbolism. And the Night's Watchmen are doing that because they're helping to bring the spring and bring the watch after this cold darkness. And so we've got a Jack in the Green on the watch, but he's a black Jack. So he's a dead green character. And he's from House Bulwer. And House Bulwer, take it away.
Right. They have the bullhorn symbol. He drank so much bull blood. He grew horns. He's a son of Garth. It's all in the same idiom. I also want to hang a lampshade on some wordplay you did that you went through really quickly. When you said the spear was 8 feet tall, we think, yes, it has to do with Yggdrasil because the Sleipnir horse having 8 legs. If you have 8 legs, you have 8 feet. So, it's another pun he's messing with.
And some people think that the 8-legged horse is the 4 pallbearers holding a casket with 8 feet because the casket transports you to the realm of the dead. I think it is, the better theory is that it's a reference to a specific horse canter that makes it look like there are 8 feet. But that's hard to pin down. It's one of those things.
Well, that I do not know enough about, but I do love that there is a bull sacrificed here because we see that in a lot of important scenes. We see a bull figure sacrificed. Lamy Greenhands is actually sacrificed, and they think he's the one who owned Gendry's helm, the bull helm. So we have a green man sacrificed with that bull helm there.
And then, of course, he's sacrificed in front of a tree.
Right. Yeah. They stab him in front of a tree when he says, "You'll have to carry me. I'm lame." He's lame like Bran, right?
Right.
But yeah, there's also, we get the old bull, Gerald Hightower, who almost certainly when he was young would have been called the White Bull because the colors of House Hightower, but also the colors of...
No, that is his official name, the White Bull.
Oh, he's called the Old Bull when we meet him. So it's like...
Yeah, no, he's the White Bull is his official name.
Right. So the White Bull, you sacrifice a White Bull. That's Mithras. We've talked about that a lot. So Mithras sacrifices a White Bull that's a part of him. Its blood is a huge motif. It rejuvenates the land. So when we talk about the original founder of House Bulwer, he drinks all of this bull's blood. He's hanging a lampshade on the Mithras motif there. So
and there's a deity in Essos that does a bull sacrifice. Let me just type this in.
Yes. We run into it with Arya and Bravos. I know that much.
Yes, it's Arya. It's going to be an Arya chapter. Oh, well, this is Gendry battle that she's talking about. Aquan the bull, every 13th day, his priests slit the throat of a pure white calf and offer bowls of blood to beggars. So this is very horned god, like the sacrifice feeds the people, just like your Corn King mythology. Jon dies trying to feed the wildlings, basically. So here we've got last hero math. We got the red bull, and then the white.
Well, and its name is Aquin. That just means water. So the Red Bull, I love it. You think George has a little thing for Red Bulls? I don't think his heart would survive.
Probably not. No, I think that's probably a coincidence. He wasn't prophesying my YouTube career being powered by Red Bull at all. Why would we call him Water the Red Bull?
I think just red water is blood.
Oh, because you drink Red Bull. Oh, because water. Okay, I got you. Yeah, that makes more sense. Okay, cool. People are asking for the music. It's just past 4:20. Let's take a quick break. Do you need to do anything with dogs? How much time do you need?
I fed the dogs. I don't need a ton of time, but I could grab some food in a bathroom.
Okay. we'll kick it with this one. And we're back. A little yippee-ki-yay. Hello. Yippee-ki-yay, mother. All right. That live censoring system is working. Hello, friends. Thanks for coming to the stream today. We got a bunch of people watching. If you would make sure you just click that thumbs up button. Make sure you're subscribed. And this will maybe be a good time to tell you about a little treat that I think I still have no, I got to get the link back. So as you guys know, I have another YouTube channel. And on that YouTube channel, me and my friend Mickey, you may know from the Eddard Stark, it was the Eddard Stark stream and a couple others. We have a channel called Script Wolves. What's that, Sean?
In the chat. She's in the chat right now.
Oh, in the chat right now. Hey, Mickey. David cosplaying my culture. I didn't know you're from Cracklaw Point, Mickey. Hell, maybe that's why I took such a shine to you. That is cool. Well, me and Mickey have made a little video. It wasn't Nimble Dick Mickey. It was me. Paste. There's the link. So we're covering Alien Earth. We're getting ready to move on to other stuff. But we're finishing up our Alien Earth coverage. And they've got, if you haven't watched Alien Earth, you should watch it. It's really good. And they've got an android character that has some ability to control and communicate with the xenomorphs, which is a lot like Daenerys controlling the dragons. And so me and Mickey noticed that, and we were like, hey, we should make a video comparing Daenerys and Wendy. And we did that. And I think it's our best video. So the link is right there. You can also find the link to Script Wolves in the description of the video and find the video there. Or you can search Script Wolves Wendy Danny on YouTube. And let YouTube know that people want to see that stuff. So check that out. And the memes, Mickey's memes. Sorry, Sean?
Sorry. Yeah, the Mother of Monsters. I've watched the show and I've been catching up on your Script Wolf stuff. The Mother of Monsters video was great. I'm very into that. The Mother of Monsters is a very prevalent motif in mythology and folklore. And it was nice to see it get some play on a TV show because there's normally not that kind of depth.
Yeah, what did you think of, just the general way they're tying in so much folklore? Like, we found Peter Pan, Frankenstein, and, of course, the Lovecraftian stuff with the Ocellus. Pretty great, isn't it?
Yeah, Tim would be a great guest for all that Lovecraftian stuff. You and Mickey are doing great. And I'm big into the Peter Pan. I made the Peter Pan video just to kind of catalog all of the symbolism that J.M. Barrie was doing. They do a great job of importing it in a really macabre way. It's kind of the same thing that George does, where he brings in his version, but he makes it kind of grisly and messed up. And yeah.
I'll tell you, the most excited I've been in a while was when Mickey was like, wait, Kirsch is acting like Peter Pan. And I was like, wait, Peter Pan's shadow even. And so it was totally like this thing where we brainstormed it together. I would have never noticed that he was like the shadow without her. And then I added that observation to her initial observation. So it's definitely some good teamwork. And I feel like we're having fun and chewing up the script. That's the idea. Script wolves, we get after it, so. Also, Mickey is like the meme queen. And so this newest video is like 1/3 memes. It's like straight memes. So if you like that shit.
I'm not as good with that. But yeah.
I'm bewildered by half of them, but the ones I catch are very funny.
Well, you've also got the cyborg guy who has, a cybernetic hand. So he's Hook. So it's like, you've got Peter Pan and Captain Hook mirror each other. That's the whole point. Like Hook even loses his normal fighting hand. So he has to fight left-handed Sinister so that he can literally mirror Peter Pan. It's so good.
So it's either the first movie version of it or the theatrical plays where frequently the actor that plays the father of the Darling family also plays Hook. So it's meant to be this dark archetype flip. Yeah.
That's a tradition, and that started in the theatrical plays because that came from J.M. Barrie himself.
Okay. Very good.
Yeah.
I really want to read the original book after getting into some of the stuff. So I'll put that on the list.
Well, of all people, you would notice all of the Morning Star, Even Star stuff that's going on. Even like, as much. I love that in the Hook adaptation, Steven Spielberg understood the assignment so much that he has like Peter Pan being lifted out of the ocean in a clamshell. Because he's a morning star, right? So he's doing
Birth of Venus, yeah,
right. And he gets lifted up to the top
Botticelli.
of the mountain like Olympus, right? So it's so good. It's also 3 days that he has to become the Pan, and in the morning of the third day, he crows like a rooster because roosters crow in the morning, kind of like it's morning star stuff. So it's just extraordinarily well done.
That does sound incredible. Yeah, I definitely have to read that. And Mickey read it she had read it already, so she added that perspective. So the third Night's Watch totem is Harry Hal. We had Blackjack Bulwer, and we had Garth Greyfeather. Harry Hal is basically a wild man of the woods figure. And this is a human that has gone back to nature, kind of like the Ulf Hednar and the Berserkir. This is like, it's kind of like that, a human that goes wild. And so that's called the Wild Man of the Woods. It's a folkloric version of the Green Man. And it's also associated with something called the Woad Woes. And the Woad Woes, that's the same Woad as in Woden, the Germanic version of Odin, or Forerunner for, if you want to say. So yeah, similar family. And so Harry Hal is a Wild Man of the Woods. There's also Tom Barleycorn. He's a scout, and of course that's a reference to John Barleycorn. But he's also, John smells Tom Barleycorn before he sees him. So this is another wild man of the woods. But then John Barleycorn, as I said earlier, this is a folk song about grain. That's the grain is personified as this character, John Barleycorn, and he's tortured, which is, and the description of the torture is like the harvesting the grain. And then he is reborn as beer and takes his revenge on everyone that killed him by getting them drunk. But drinking the beer is like drinking the blood of John Barleycorn. So it's this sort of fun version of the classic blood drinking kind of occult rituals. And then George changed the name from John Barleycorn to Tom Barleycorn to sort of draw attention to Jon Snow, who is going to be killed and resurrected. So you're muted.
Well, in Harry Hal, I have to rewind to him because in the Lord of the Rings, there were a bunch of green men in a forest called the Woes. And
Right.
not only that, but Harry Hal is a ranger with the Night's Watch. There is a Dunedain ranger named Halbarad, and he is the leader of the Dunedain Rangers in Aragorn's absence. So he's kind of hanging a lampshade on two different Lord of the Rings things here, which makes a lot of sense. But yeah, there was a whole group of green men in a forest between Rohan and Gondor, and they ended up helping the Rohirrim make it to Gondor in time by blocking some, orcs who were kind of trying to slow down their train to get there. And they ended up getting, granted the forest by Gondor after the war. But yeah, there's a leader, Gonbury Gon, and they're called the Woes, and they're a bunch of very obvious green men. I can't remember if they have green skin, but they wear all green. They're all hairy. It's very on the nose.
So that's Harry Hal, and it's just showing you Night's Watchmen. They get either Weirwood killed or Weirwood sacrificed or Weirwood resurrected or all the above. They should all be Green Man types. And that's kind of the story here. So it's the same message being sent over and over and over again, which is why I am so solid about Green Zombies theory and have been for a long time. It's spelled out in so many ways. So two things here. Somebody asked about Arya a second ago, and that ties to Darion. I'll bring him up in a second. Let me just do the super chat first, which is a good one. Halloween prediction. Jon's going to be resurrected by having Ghost's head. Teased by Rob's death at the Red Wedding. Plus, we already have Franken Mountain. Let's see. Why not Wolfman Jon to fight Dracula Roos? Okay, so no, but yes. Not literally. We already did that once. But Rob is a foreshadowing for Jon. And I'm going to talk about this in the Firewolves video and the Melisandre's Fate video. But basically, yes, everything Rob does is foreshadowing for Jon. The idea of him being killed and the wolf being killed and then the wolf head being sewn on the body and then he rides out of the twins. The twins are psychopomp figures. Specifically Walder Frey, fertility god, and the parallels between the Black Gate, which is the wall door, and the crossing, and the Lord of the Crossing is Walder, and the wall is a crossing. So these are parallel locations. Rob is killed at the crossing, and the resurrected form is Wolfman combined. That's the point. So when Jon is resurrected, he's going to be combined with his wolf at the crossing, at the Night Fort, at Castle Black, somewhere like that. Okay. And the other part is that there's a dream that Theon has of Robb and Grey Wind returning to Winterfell and interrupting the corpse feast. And the doors blow open and the winds of winter blow in. And then here comes Robb and Ghost, eyes burning, bleeding from 100 wounds. So they are dead, but they are reanimated. They have burning eyes and they are coming to Winterfell. That's exactly what we're going to get from Jon. Whether it's Whited Jon, like other possessed Jon or not, I'm not sure. But he's definitely coming back to Winterfell with his wolf, both of them as whites.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think,
good. You can stay on the stream.
Good. Whatever ends up happening, Jon is more wolfish when he comes back. There's going to be in whether it's framed as him kind of, opening up to his Targaryen, dragon blood or whatever or not, doesn't matter. He's going to be more wolfish. He's going to be more predatorial. And that's what we need to fight the others. So that will happen.
I really think it's a perfectly detailed depiction between those two. Wolfman Jon is a combination of wolf and man. And the wolf is the head, which kind of does imply he's going to be wolfish, definitely. The wolf is sort of running things to a certain extent. But then the other dream shows dead wolf, dead man, both reanimated, eyes burning, stalking into the hall. That's the idea. And this is a good parallel to the Valyrian Sphinx. The Valyrian Sphinx is a dragon with a human head. And we think that this refers to the riddle of the Sphinx being about the three heads of the dragon. It's the dragon bond. The mysterious third head is this human head inside the dragon. It's the Valyrian ancestor spirit that's been sacrificed and now lives on in the dragon. And that creates part of the ability for a link to form between a dragon and a person. So the person's ancestors in the dragon. So that's the third head. That's what the Sphinx means. So the idea of Grey Wind with the wolf head on the man body, similar idea. This is some sort of merged human wolf thing where there's a spirit inside the animal or vice versa. It is about the merging of human and animal spirits to make these sort of ice and fire monsters of wolf and dragon. So pretty cool. And then Jon is a dragon, so that's pretty fun. And then we'll do the Arya one in a second. Quick, let's see. Wolfman Jack. Jack is a nickname for a guy named Jon. Yeah, that's true.
Right. Well, that's why Black Jack Bulwer and then Tom Barleycorn, who's really John Barleycorn. Like it's all different ways of showing prototypes of Jon.
I see. Yeah. Okay. That's a good way to think about it. And then, yeah, chimeras. These are all chimeras. These Night's Watch zombies. They would be chimeras if there's Skinchanger zombies, because we've got animal spirits in them. So yeah, I think that's right.
Which is kind of what they need to be. That's the whole basis of the, green zombies in the Night's Watch. It's the undead Skinchanger archetype in order to oppose the others.
So somebody asked about Arya. Arya her main symbolism is Child of the Forest symbolism. But she also does join the Watch, or tries to, disguised as a boy with Yoren. Okay. Then when she's in Braavos, she does the good Northman thing and executes Darion, the singer. Now, the thing about Darion is that he's a singer. So that makes him a Child of the Forest also. But he does the bad thing. Oh, also the name Darren, or Darach, in Irish, is oak tree. So he's an oak tree singer from the Night's Watch. And Arya kills him and throws him in the canal. And the canal is the Green Sea. So this is a Night's Watchman that's been executed. Now, he's not resurrected. We didn't see that part. He doesn't deserve. But I guess somebody probably hauled him out of the canal at some point. I don't know. Or we saved his boots. But the point is, we see a lot of scenes where it's like a Child of the Forest or a Green Man sacrificing and resurrecting the Night's Watch and performing the ritual. And that's kind of what Arya is doing by killing him and dumping him in the canal. Thoughts?
Well, and another big thing that you brought up a lot before is that whether she's actually meant to symbolically be part of the Night's Watch or not, she's in partnership with it. You look at the Weirwood Grove of Nine, where they say their oaths. The idea is, whether literally or not, those are meant to be green seer trees. You are saying your oaths to the green seers, to the children of the forest. You are making a pact with them. The pact of ice and fire is the pact that you're making when you join the Night's Watch. So it's like, her upholding that pact is exactly how it's supposed to be. You break the pact with the children of the forest, it's the children of the forest who punish you.
And sometimes it's depicted as a punishment like this. And sometimes it looks more just like a death resurrection ceremony. So hard to say exactly if these Night's Watchmen were resurrected, if they volunteered, or if they fell against the others, or how that happened. But so I'm being told that Derag is actually just pronounced Dara. So the GH is silent, even though frequently there's a sound when it doesn't look like there should be. So this one looks like there should be, and there's not. That's awesome. Cool.
Man, I never even try with Gaelic or Welsh. I never even try. It's above my pay grade.
They tried and died. They tried and failed. They tried and died. That's it. Okay. So Arya, it either tells you children of the forest are joining the Watch, or they are conducting these Watchmen rituals, I guess you'd say. Next, we've got Jarman Buckwell. So in the same way that Jorman and Jorah are referring to the, Jormungandr and the Horn of Jorman, we've got Jarman Buckwell, and he's the horn blower in the scene at Craster's. So that's the Horn of Jarman. Jarman, the name is the same as German, and it means spearman. So there's Yar, right. Like you said, Einherjar Yar.
Yeah, the Yar from Einherjar Yar, right.
So Targaryen could be translated what?
So
if we took the gar and made it spear.
I have two ways to translate that. One of the way, and they're both definitely being used. The one is tar is it's the Lord of the Rings, like Tar Menildil. It's
The
the
prefix,
prefix.
okay, of
It
the
means
Númenórean
either a
kings.
tree, which makes sense with the Númenórean and Gondorian kings because they had a white tree symbol. Um, but it can also mean a cross, but specifically in the context of across a body of water. So with the Targaryens, they are kings from across the water, but Ger is either war or spear, and then Yen is going to be a sun thing, which is where like the Japanese yen come from. But it's there's separate motifs there, but the idea is sun tree spear, which
Oh,
is yeah, you know what that is.
yeah, we're getting at the sun spear and all the Dornish symbolism of striking the tree with the the lightning or the meteor. Okay, very cool.
Yeah, it's Odin's spear. It's made in the heart of the sun,
Right.
forged in the heart of the sun with ash from the world tree. So it's sun tree spear. Yeah, it's a world tree sun spear, which is what the Targaryens are.
Did you say that Odin's spear is made from ash of Yggdrasil?
Yes, not placed that way in the Eddas, but if you look at like the Volsung saga and some of the other things, they talk about it in there how it's made with wood from the world tree.
Because one of the ideas about dawn is that made from a pale stone. What if that pale stone is actually petrified weirwood, and you need ash to forge steel? So maybe there's like weirwood ash in the making of dawn, and that gives it the white symbol. I don't know. That's
It's it's also it's a reference to Sigurd. So this is where we get sword in the stone. So if you talk about the pale stone sword or the sword in the pale stone sword, which is where they keep Dawn,
right.
the original sword in the stone was not actually in a stone; it was in a tree given to one of the Volsung kings by Odin. Odin stabbed the tree or stabbed the sword into the
With
tree,
Graham,
and
yeah,
only a
and
worthy
the
person
Barnstalker tree.
right, and only a worthy person was able to take it out. So that is sword in the stone, but it's a sword in the tree, which is why George's trees, his werewoods, petrify into stone. He's equating the two things because it's from this stone tree is where you get your worthy king, right?
A targe is a type of shield.
Yes.
Did not know that. So, all right. So Jarman Buckwell, like I said,
It's a circular shield. It's usually reflective.
ah,
So it you can,
a
there's a lot
mirror
of sun
shield.
associations usually. Yeah.
So Jarman Buckwell, the house Buckwell has a sigil of a golden stag head on a field of blue, and they're from a place called Antlers. So it's not really cryptic there. They're, you know,
Yeah. I mean, it's a buck. A buck is a stag or a deer or, male deer. So yeah, it's in a well. We have a lot of well stuff going on in the Night's Watch. We have Sam Well Tarley who crawls up out of a well at the Night Fort. Yeah,
indeed.
it's yeah,
Yeah, that's the main one. And then, of course, Yggdrasil, its roots rooted in three springs or wells, as they are called.
well, then
And
another
then
one that we
finally,
get to.
when he blows the horn of Jaramen, Jarman Buckwell, it's in a drowned forest. It's on the way to Craster's. The forest is called Drowned. So think of dead trees, or even the drowned men of the Ironborn who have the white description, rising harder and stronger, can't be killed. So we've got tree whites basically as he blows the horn.
You know what I call that? Morning wood.
Well, okay, so in all seriousness, the Night's Watch
Yeah.
wearing black clothes. I know you're serious. The black clothes, those are mourning clothes. And since they're called the black swords, they are the swords of the morning. But it's Mourning, mourning. And that is how Mournblade is spelled, Mourn, Mournblade. And it is a black sword. So the Night's Watchmen are swords of mourning, the Mournblades, wearing mourning clothes. and not being able to do anything with their morning wood other than take care of that by themselves in the dark.
So yeah, they've lost fertility. So what do you even do? But yeah, Jarman Buckwell is good. There's also another one, Watt, we're gonna run into later. We have the Dolorous Ed quote where he's so lucky, he fell all the way down into that deep pool. It's like, yeah, but he had, a wildling axe embedded in his head, so he was already dead, but he fell into the pool, right? But that's the point. It was Watt of Long Lake, and he fell into a deep pool at the Bridge of Skulls. So it's like the death well again.
A spear in heraldry separating icons is called an impalement and typically notes a marriage of two houses. Could Targaryen be the same thing but with the name? Moon mirror plus sun. Oh, yeah, that does make sense. I don't know if that's what George was thinking of, but their sun and moon, they're more often they have moon symbolism, but they become kings. So that gives them the solar king symbolism. And some of them do have that as well. Yeah. That's why they have the hair of gold and silver. It's like metallic sun and moon hair.
Because it's got to be both, because at some point the sun and moon, they use that morning wood, and this reconciliation, baby, this reconciliation between the sun and moon has to be of both.
Yes. Yeah, that's the whole idea of the eclipse, the moon kissing the sun or whatever. So that's Jarman Buckwell. Oh, also Jar Man makes me think of Soul Jar Man, not Soul Man. Soul Jar Man, because both Jon and Cold Hands are soul jar men, in that their spirits were preserved in their animals, which are like soul jars. I don't know if George is making that pun. Probably just me. But
he 100% is, because he puts the weirwood trees are effectively soul jars for green seers, and then he has another brand of trees that he uses almost exclusively in the north and almost exclusively near weirwood trees, called soldier pines.
Oh, soul jar pines.
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta take off my goddamn hat for that, Tim. Hell. Wow, soul jar pines is right there in front of us the whole time. All right, where's my hat?
Anyway, yeah, soul jars. If anybody's not familiar with the idea that Dave's bringing up here, it's something, it's a fantasy motif where an evil lord is able to keep surviving death because his soul is kept in a soul jar. So when you kill his body, he just retreats to the soul jar until he's able to, recover or whatever. It's the idea of like Voldemort and his Horcruxes. It's
Horcrux. That's what I was about to say. Voldemort and his Horcrux. Thank you for bringing that up. Go ahead.
Yeah, Sauron and his ring. It's very repetitive. You see it damn near everywhere.
It's definitely a fantasy trope. So yeah, soldier pines, they frequently, we'll have to look up the symbolism of, but they get covered in snow quite a bit. They're marching in ranks and all these things. Yeah.
Well, and a pine is, it's evergreen, right? So it's a tree that is still green even in winter.
Yeah, and they do that. They do some pine tree stuff with Harwood Fell.
Yeah. Well, and there's another
pond.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were done there. But the whole motif where they have like Tears of Lys, Tears of Liza, Alyssa's Tears, all this, LYS language tree, etymology, tears, right? It's pining.
Oh, like pining away?
Yeah.
Pining for the fjords?
Well, no, and it's like, Nissa, you get Ygritte, who is named after a tree, and she's one of the foremost Nissa characters. We should have stayed in that cave, Jon Snow. We should have stayed in the weirwood net. We should have stayed in that tree, Jon Snow, like that. So it's like you have this tree where these souls got separated and only one is in there, and it's pining for its other half, essentially. So that's kind of a motif that you play with Azor Ahai and Nissa.
Yeah, and then there's I just had a thought. What was it? It flew out of my head. It was there and gone. Soul jars. Pine tree. What was it? Damn it.
Pine Sol. Pine Sol.
I was thinking about pining away, and no.
I think you were on the soul jar thing.
Yeah, it was something having to do with that. Oh well, I'll have to. Yeah, the pine cones are another one too, because the pineal gland and the seed, and also grenades are called pines, right? Pineapples. So there's explosion that the trees explode with the needles because they're pine trees.
Oh, well, and you gotta love that because, a needle being like the weapon of a tree, like a pine needle, and of course Arya's sword is called needle.
And the Starks have a big wooden sword thing. They're always with wooden swords, which is another
Yeah.
reason why Dawn could be Weirwood Ash created, because the Starks really like wooden swords, and Needle is like a tree sword. Yeah.
Well, when Arya loses needle, like she practices with a weighted wooden sword before, and then she has needle. But then when she loses it, she uses an actual tree branch.
In the Kingdom of the Leaves, she duels with a stick. Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. Soul Jar Man. There you go. We did the Jorahs. Bedwick. Will you read this quote? I need to take a little back medicine here while you read this quote. So,
Gotcha. Jon heard a rustling from the red leaves above. 2 branches parted, and he glimpsed a little man moving from limb to limb as easily as a squirrel. Bedwick stood no more than 5 feet tall, but the gray streaks in his hair showed his age. The other rangers called him Giant. He sat in a fork of the tree over their heads and said, "There's water to the north. A lake might be. Few flint hills rising to the west. Not very high. Nothing else to see, my lords." This is good on so many levels. Like, obviously, anytime you call somebody giant or small or whatever, there's like, Lenny from Mice and Men, like Lenny Small from Mice and Men, which is a small Paul thing, obviously. But he is a graybeard who's being compared to a green boy because he's little, like a child. And they mentioned squirrel here. And he's not even the only Night's Watchman who's compared to a squirrel. One of them has the nickname Squirrel. I put him in the notes. But he's in the fork of a tree. And so the operative word here, fork, we should be thinking...
Oh, the tree's eating him. The tree's eating him like he's on a fork.
It is eating him. And
I didn't catch that. There's so much in this paragraph. I already did an analysis that I recorded and scrapped. And so I'm enjoying hearing you doing the analysis of the same paragraph. I didn't think about that. It's in the fork.
Yeah. Well, and that's another thing that the trident is doing.
Oh, right. The power of the sea god with the 3 branches and all that.
But a trident is literally a fork.
Yes, it is.
3-tined fork. So it is it's stabbing the neck.
Oh, and in the Cold Hands scene, there's meat on one of Mira's tines of her trident while they're talking to Cold Hands about him being a dead ranger.
Well, and how many times do we see spears go through necks? We see like Gendry's spear go through Rorge's neck. We see there are a bunch of times where that's a thing. It's to do with your weirwood stigmata, when you silence the silencing part of the weirwood stigmata. You stab someone through the neck, that'll silence them. It's also going to do when you stab someone through the neck. That's the drowning of the neck. They're drowning in blood, but it's still drowning.
So this is pretty funny because the little green man kind of makes you think of an alien, little green men from Mars, but obviously the little green men are the children of the forest. Maybe that's another strong clue that they are related, as one would assume they are. If there are Cernuno folk on the Isle of Faces, they would be related to the children. So little green man, he is like you said, he is both young and old because he is, he's got gray in his hair, but he's the size of a child. So that's like the children of the forest who are actually the wise men of the woods, and they're super old. And then, of course, Giant refers to the Weirwood giants, and the giants who were the Bane and brothers of the children. More, I'm thinking Weirwood giant. And so it's a dead oak that's become his castle. And so this is basically showing you the Weirwoods, which are castles for green seers, are the equivalent of dead oak trees. And this is Summer King, Winter King, Oak Hollies again. The Winter King is like a dead Summer King. The Weirwood, which is the winter tree, is like a dead oak tree. And so here we have a child of the forest making a home in a dead oak tree, which is a Weirwood tree, which is eating him because that's what happens. That's how you get in the Weirwood tree.
Well, he's doing green seer Skinchanger stuff, and so they call him giant. So it's kind of like, when you
become a giant by living in the Weirwood tree. Thank you. That's it exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's doing Watchmen stuff, Sentinel stuff. He's like looking, oh, there's stuff over there, So.
Well, and I love it because he's referencing bodies of water, and then we keep having, Watchmen, Night's Watchmen,
Flint Hills Rising. When you think of the Flint barracks and how those are tied to the Scarecrow Sentinels when they're rising, that's cool.
Yeah,
they're not very high though. They're small.
You have Sam rising out of the well. You have Watt, Longleg.
I remember the thing I forgot. You just said Ygritte has a tree name. That was an example of you going too fast and needing to slow down, Sean. Okay, so because most people are going to hear that and go, no, Ygritte is named after an egret, which is a baby eagle.
Right.
So, but of course, go ahead. Right. You want to explain it?
Yeah. So you brought this up a number of times. First off, you need to look at the spelling. It's not spelled like the bird. It is referencing the bird to a point, but the spelling starts YGG, and that's always.
It's actually one G. It's YGRITTE. So he's disguising it because if it was YGGRITE, it would be more obvious. Right, as in a sacred rite performed with Yggdrasil. So he just switched the double consonant. But then he shows Ygritte melting into blood and bone in the Winterfell pond in front of the heart tree. So that is the Ygritte. That is a magical sacrifice of a Nissa Nissa woman in front of the heart tree after her and Jon have also had magic sex that he was ashamed for his father to look at. But she's turning into blood and bone. So she's turning into the Weirwood tree, melting into the pond. It's very easy to determine that. What I was looking for you to put in was that at the top of Yggdrasil is an eagle.
Right.
So
there's the eagle at the top, there's the dragon at the bottom, and there is the squirrel that carries messages between. So north of the wall, we have Ygritte. On the wall, we have these children of the forest figures, like this guy who's like a squirrel, and another
running up and down, Ratatoskr, yeah.
Squirrel. And then we have dragons south of the wall who can't pass the wall.
Yeah, and also dragons, like Bloodraven is a dragon in the roots of the Weirwood tree as well. And then we've got the ravens and the birds up in the. But
what I'm drawing attention to is when Silverwing could not pass the wall.
No, you're not wrong.
Who's the dragon at the roots of the Nidhogg? Nidhogg can't leave until Ragnarok.
Yeah, and Loki is similar too. He's trapped down there as well. Yeah.
Right.
So there you go. So that's the longer story on Ygritte and her name. And in her death scene, of course, she turns into Night's Queen. She's been doing Kissed by Fire, Nissa Nissa, Jon's lover symbolism, but also a wildling woman that Jon saw north of the wall and fell in love with, which is Night's Queen-like. And when she dies, she gets the snowy ice crystal mask, a silver mask of moonlight and ice. It's very, very descriptive. So it's a big clue that Nissa Nissa, like Night's Queen, is just some sort of dead spirit form of Nissa Nissa. It's looking. I used to want to say they're two different women, but I really think it's the same one.
Yeah, I tend to think it's an archetypal transition. But in any case, if we wanted more confirmation of her being a tree woman, there is exactly one named tree in all of the extended A Song of Ice and Fire material, and it is a demon tree named Egg. YGG.
Right. Yep. And of course, the same person, Grey King, slays the sea dragon and he slays the demon tree Ig. But that's, then the bones of the sea dragon turn out to be Weirwood.
Demon tree Ig, it ate blood sacrifices and blah, blah, blah. So, of course, Ygritte, blood sacrificed to a white demon tree in the Winterfell heart, or in the Winterfell wood. And,
did I say something wrong? Did I say that an egret is a baby eagle and it's not? Or is it also Egrettes? That's a different kind of bird. It's a type of heron. Is a baby eagle called an egret, or did I just make that up?
No, an egret there are two different types of birds we're talking about in the spelling matters.
Okay.
And I think the chat will fix it. I got to go to the bathroom real quick.
Okay, that's cool. That's sudden, but that's fine. An eaglet. Okay, so it's an eaglet. So we should think about the heron bird then, an egret. But it does remind me of the fact that there's an eagle on top of Yggdrasil. But an egret is a heron. Okay, sorry about that. There's a little ADHD mix up there. That's cool. There's egrets living here in Sacramento. Oh, cool. Right on. Yeah, we got a fair amount of marshland around the river. Samson's dead it. Oh, and yeah, there's that lemon tree down in Dorne. There's that Brotherhood of the Lemon Tree. That's a weird one too. I should look at that symbolism one time. Okay, so moving on, we got giant. So that's a pretty great one. Oh, the giant thing goes on. After he makes the castle, so we just described all this stuff. Here's the next quote. Because that was him climbing the tree. The making a castle in the trees later. That's this quote here. It said, Giant had crammed himself into the hollow of a dead oak. How'd you like my castle, Lord Snow? It looks snug. Do you know where Sam is? And then later he says, I don't know where he is, unless Sam's found him a tree too. What a tree that would be. It was Ghost who found Sam in the end. So this is all wordplay, this whole quote. Like I said, a dead oak tree is just another way of talking about the Weirwood as a dead summer king. And so it's his castle. Child of the Forest is living inside it. That's cool, becoming a giant. And then he says it looks snug. So think about how Herne the Hunter was hung on Herne's oak. Okay, because the noose is snug. So it's a snug fit in the dead tree. And Herne, basically, that's the Cold Hands transformation. He died, and then he became a ranger afterwards. And that's why he says, oh, maybe Sam has found him a tree too. So Sam should find a snug fit in a dead oak tree and become a Cold Hands Herne the Hunter type. And that's why the final line is, it was Ghost who found Sam in the end. So
the werewolf tree.
Yeah, that's what's going to find Sam in the end. Like when he dies, Sam's archetype should find a snug fit in a Weirwood tree.
Right.
It doesn't necessarily mean Sam will do that. It's all talking about the archetype, But
right. It was very, the two Spider-Mans pointing at each other meme. That's, Cold Hands and Sam when they meet across the wall. They look different, but they aren't.
Same person. Yep, it's pretty great. People are mentioning that, of course, when we talk about herons, we should think of House Crane and, the daughter of Garth and a Skinchanger symbolism connected to Red Lake and Bran the Bloody Blade. I do think Sam will have a happy ending, yes. Tyrion might not, but Sam will. So, let's see. And then we were talking about, Bedwick and the name Bedwick. He doesn't slash Jon across the throat. That's wrong. It's Wick Whittlestick that does, which we'll talk about. But Bedwick, that's like a bed that is like a wick that caught on fire. And this is the guy that made a castle in a dead oak tree. So this is just a reference to the Weirwood as a burning bed, essentially. You're muted.
God damn. Yeah, the weirwood is already on fire. That's the whole point of its, red leaf canopy. Like, it's the, lightning hit the tree and gave men fire idea. So yeah, Bedwick and then Wick Whittlestick is kind of building on that idea. And there's the whole Jack be nimble, Jack be quick, Jack jump over the candlestick, because when George puts in one Jack, he's putting in all of the Jacks from various fairy tales. Jon Snow is a Jack Frost, but he's also all of the other Jacks. Jack the Giant Killer, Jack and the Beanstalk. You went over that. And then Jack be nimble.
So pretty cool. And then related is Wick Whittlestick. You're talking about jumping over the candlestick. Wick Whittlestick is the one that slashes Jon's throat and gives him the red smile. So what do you think about his name?
Well, it's kind of like some of the other things that you were talking about where it's hanging a lampshade on Jon. So you talk about Tom Barleycorn is supposed to be Jon Barleycorn, and Jon is a corn king. We know because the Ravens literally called him Corn King. Yes, Tom Barleycorn is telling us about Jon. Black Jack Bulwer, a bull sacrifice, when there was literally a bull sacrifice at Jon's birth. Yeah, we're doing more Jon things. So when we say Wick Whittlestick, that's Jack be nimble, Jack be quick, Jack jump over the candlestick.
Right. And so that's jumping over the candlestick sounds like a sort of transformative, through the fire kind of a thing. And so this is the person killing Jon. But also just think about Wick Whittlestick. A whittle stick is something you're carving, and it's a stick. So the weirwood is a whittle stick. And it's, again, a wick, just like with Bedwick. It is a wick. It's because it gets set on fire. Wick also means town. And we think of tree towns and just the idea of, again, people living in the trees, or in the caves below. So.
Yep. When you look at like English towns like Norwich, historically, York used to be called Efferwich. Witch means town. Wick means town, no matter how you spell it. But he's using it that way. He's also using it like a candle wick is exactly what you would look at symbolically as a volcano.
Oh, sure. Right. Okay. And then there's also the chat's having fun with whittlestick. Like whittle, like, oh, it's a whittle wabbit.
It's cold.
It's what?
The stick is only whittle because it's cold.
I don't get it.
Oh, that was a phallic joke. And
okay. Killing me. I'm trying to. Okay. So let me go back to this comment. What was it? That totally derailed me. It's okay. It's just, that was funny. So a whittle stick, like a little stick. Michaela was saying even a whittle stick can take out a dragon. I was thinking of Dracula, like a stake through the heart kills Dracula. Is that an Elden Ring reference that I don't recognize, Michaela? But we were just talking about wood swords. The chat is full of phallic imagery.
But yeah, there's
it's all because of you. They weren't going to do that until you made that comment. Now
I go from different levels of maturity so fast throughout the course of a
You
stream.
do. It's like a broken elevator that's just
Yeah, that's the ADHD. Anyway, so the way George uses wick a lot is he uses it in place of volcanoes. So it's fiery at the top. It's burning part of itself, just like a volcano does. It is literally, it is a molten rock that spews out, or ash, which, comes from what it is literally made of. And it burns down to nothing, just like a candle. So we see a lot of scenes like Arya carrying a candle as she goes down under the Red Keep. Like, they're just the way that it's used. It's always.
I think about the House of Black and White and the Altars of the Seven, which are both the same thing. Altars to deities and underworld temples. There's also the melting candle wax on the map with Jon and Stannis. That's like the melting wall. But We missed the obvious thing with the Whittlestick could kill a dragon. Weirwood arrows probably kill dragons per Brandon Snow. So think about this. Wick Whittlestick killed Jon the dragon. And Whittlestick Weirwood arrows can kill dragons.
Well, and it is a Dracula thing because it's something that we see fairly often is Targaryens getting killed by arrows.
Oh, I think of
Balin the Brave was
Balin
one.
the Brave, yeah.
Yeah.
And then all the dragons that get scorpioned.
Right. So, wood killing these, I mean, it's really more the Targaryens themselves who are more vampire-like. But
Ares Oakheart. Even though he's Oakheart, he's also got the Ares dragon symbolism. He's the cooked white star symbolism, like a white comet turning red, and he's the one getting sacrificed. Yeah.
And named Ares. After. It's not spelled the same, but he's named after a dragon. So
yeah, that's cool. Whittlestick, that's fun. Yeah, this is a good stream. This is a good one. I'm having fun with this. And if you're enjoying the stream, do leave a comment. Again, check out Sean's channel and his Patreon. Go check out our Alien Earth video. I'm very proud of it, and more people need to watch it. And so I do think George is pulling all of this from Dracula. He would be. That makes perfect sense. The wooden stake or cross, like a wooden cross that gets into the crucifixion and the Odin gets right back to the sacred tree and stuff. So,
well, it's spooky season, guys. Go read Dracula. Like there's a lot of low budget and crappy horror out there, especially in movies. Dracula, the book, really does a fantastic job of building tension and, keeping mystery about its villain. It's so well done. There's some weird stuff in it, and not everything is perfect, but it's so well done. Symbolism is good. Just go read it.
Michaela's alt account is killing it today. Rhaegar was hammered in the chest like you would a vampire, and literally it was the iron spike of Robert's hammer. So similar to the stake, Robert the Green Man put a spike through his heart. He even says through his evil black heart. So it's very Dracula. Very well.
Dracula. That's a ghost and fae thing, is that you fight them with iron. So when you talk about the iron spike poking through, like that's it's as if he were a fae.
Right. So slightly different, but similar body of folklore there. Yeah, same idea. Yeah. Very cool. Yeah, the Dracula, please do read it or listen to the audiobook. It's really phenomenal. I really enjoyed it a few months ago. Mm-hmm. And it's not very long. And I would recommend what's interesting is like reading the original Dracula book and then watching the Nosferatu movie. You can see how the new Nosferatu is drawing things from the book as well as the original Nosferatu movie. Like they're kind of mixing it all together. It's pretty interesting.
Yes. And it's kind of interesting because they took some of the stuff that you weren't sure whether it was symbolic or literal in the books, and they made it literal, which they haven't really done in a Dracula adaptation. Like they made they dial up the fantastical elements usually and make Dracula more powerful and more magic and all that. But it was really interesting to see like dream invasion and that kind of stuff be a literal thing in Dracula.
Yeah, it was if you didn't see that, I mean, you got to see that. That's high cinema art right there. Good stuff. Corin Halfhand. So his name, you guys probably know this routine by now. Corin means spear most directly, and he's as straight as a spear. So it's more of these spearman stuff. But it also seems to refer to the idea of chorus and corn, because the Night's Watcher crows and ravens are always asking for corn, which symbolizes the seed and soul, sacrificing yourself, becoming dead. You're giving your corn to the Weirwoods like Bran was. And then the chorus idea, the voices of the Night's Watchmen become a chorus. He uses that word when they say their vows in front of the Weirwood tree, which is a resurrection ceremony in which they give their corn, their life seed, to the Weirwood to be resurrected as these Night's Watch brothers. So Corin Halfhand, he's pretty great. And Halfhand makes you think of the Child of the Forest, hands with only 4 fingers.
Well, not I think of Corin, like core meaning heart. So there's a lot of, with him being burned on a pyre, there's a lot of Azor Ahai Nissa Nissa stuff, burning heart type stuff going on.
Well, heart tree gives us back to the, that's where you say the chorus and give your corn.
Right. And in addition to that, I think he's doing a lot of it's some Silmarillion stuff. So
that's why a quarrel is an arrow. See, the corn spear, quarrel is a small spear. It's an arrow. Same family of same language family, same word root here. So, Corin Halfhand, he loses 3 fingers on one hand, which means he has 8 fingers left, and the Children of the Forest have 2 4-fingered hands. I figured that out. So
he also it's very like Victarion Greyjoy when he blocks the sword thrust with his fingers and he gets the hand repaired. But I mean, it's cut at the same place. It's just Corin lost the fingers and Victarion had it repaired with burning fire magic. But he's doing a lot of if you remember Maedhros from
because his hand was pricked by the rose thorn. So that's another like wooden stake pricking.
Right. I actually didn't think of that, but that's good. But yeah, it's Maedhros from the Silmarillion, if you remember him. He's the eldest son of Feanor.
Mm-hmm.
He got captured and imprisoned by
Morgoth.
And he was able to escape, but he lost his hand. Like they had to cut his hand off to get him out of the manacles. So and he trained with the other hand until he got even better with the other hand fighting. And that's something that Corin Halfhand did as well, that they talk about.
He's a sad story, Maedhros. We should think about him and Jaime more.
Yes, that's definitely something that's going on. Maedhros is Jaime's goal.
Right. But even being captured like that and chained up and losing his hand, I mean, that's what happens to Jaime, loses his hand in captivity.
Well, and the huge commonality between the 3 of these people is that Maedhros and all of the other sons of Feanor, they are all corrupted and doomed by the oath of Feanor. Remember, they made this oath to get the Silmarils.
Absolutely. It haunts them until they're all dead.
Yeah, it poisons everything they do. It forces them to do more kinslaying. Like there's a magic power to it. And of course, we have Corin doing the Night's Watch oaths. That's definitely a thing. And Jon is an extension of Corin here, and he has to break the Night's Watch oaths in order to really uphold them, which is interesting. And it's kind of something. It's
Corin that explains that to him,
right? And it's Maedhros. Maedhros kind of does something similar when he lets one of the Silmarils go. But yeah, it's a whole messy thing. And then of course Jaime feels suffocated by his Kingsguard and knightly oaths. You're always forsaking one oath for another, and he's got that whole theme going on as well. So oaths, not even once.
And then also we mentioned heavy Jon Corin parallels. We read that chapter, and I made a produced video out of it called Jon Snow's Pyre. They start off at a bonfire, and they're snapping logs, and it's like, oh, the wood that had been dead a long time lived again in the fire, and it's like, oh wow, it's George is kind of going ham here, describing a little campfire. I wonder what's going on. And then later on, Corin is burned on a pyre. There's all kinds of symbolism. We don't have to redo the whole scene, but it is foreshadowing.
Drogo-like.
What's that?
I said, but it's very Drogo-like.
Yes, and it is like Drogo's pyre, foreshadowing for Jon's pyre. So check out that video. That's why I called it Jon Snow's Pyre, then broke down that chapter. But there's the death of Corin Halfhand is a Weirwood totem stigmata type thing. Jon gets him across the throat with Long Claw, and it's a red. So that's the red smile, like a carved bloody smile, like the Weirwood. But it's described as a string of red tears that appear. So he's actually got bloody tears and a red smile. So it's very Weirwood stigmata. And then he's died, and then burned on the pyre. So Jon, similarly, cut across the throat. and is going to be on a pyre, etc., etc. So that's Corin Halfhand. Thorin Smallwood, a.k.a. Dwarf King Small Tree. Go ahead, take it away.
No, this is great, and we barely even have to explain this. Thorin Oakenshield his name is Thor. Thor's sacred tree is an oak. He's doing Oak King stuff. He made an oaken shield in order to defeat, some big famous orc. This guy is small and imperious, kind of like a dwarf. He's always, they described him as talking lordly, and, he's arrogant and all this. He does not trust the Weirwoods, because why would he? He's an Oak King guy if he's Thorin, so he's not going to like the Holly-esque Weirwood trees. He's always kind of in opposition to Dywyn. Those two are kind of two halves of a coin.
Yeah, I love that. Dywyn of the Wooden Teeth, of course. And even that name Dywyn, it sounds kind of like Dryad or Dyad, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, and like die meaning two, and win is joy. There's a reason why that's a very common prefix in Westeros.
So it's like killjoy, kind of.
Tower of joy, yeah.
So he's got wooden teeth, and he argues with a guy that's named Smallwood. So Smallwood is like, he doesn't like the trees. He wants to cut the Weirwoods down. He hates the Weirwoods, Thorin Smallwood. But what was interesting that I figured out was that like he's described as small and imperious. So he literally is a dwarf king. Okay, he acts like a king, and he's small, and he's from House Smallwood of Acorn Hall. That's where Arya the squirrel wore the acorn dress, and Gendry's like, you look like an oak tree, but pretty like. So it's more Arya the squirrel, living in the oak tree. And we already did Darren, but again, Darren, oak tree again. So you can see the repeated themes with these names on the watch. And so those are all the Watchmen I found that have like overt green symbolism. There's a few other ones though. I feel like my notes are clipped here. There's Gren, who's called Aurochs. And
so, yeah, we got them. They're in the list A to Z. And at a certain point, I listed some of the more important ones at the beginning, but for the most part, it actually is in alphabetical order. So if you wanted to go.
Well, I had a section on Gren in my notes that I must have deleted accidentally, but Gren is green.
There he is.
And he's given the nickname Aurochs. Aurochs is a big hairy bull, and Gren is big hairy dude. So that you think of Harry Hal, the wild man of the woods. He's the Black Jack bull, where he's a bull, and his name Gren is green. So he's like a green bull man on the watch.
It's a Germanic language root for branch.
Oh, okay. There you go. So a green tree bull man.
Yeah.
And let's go back to the beginning of your list here. Now, we will have talked about some of these already, but we'll see if you had any stuff that I missed. Okay, so this is the scene with Jeor Mormont. And of course, I did this in the Cold Hands video. And basically, they're looking at the skulls at White Tree. And they're talking about talking to the dead and all that stuff. So Mormont picking up the Weirwood skull, wishing he could talk to the dead. Like Hamlet looking at Yoren's skull, basically. It's definitely a Hamlet quote, but...
Yes, and I actually brought that up on Yoren. It's the very last entry. It's the soliloquy from Hamlet that Dave's talking about. It's, alas, poor Yorick. I knew him well, and he's holding up Yorick's skull. And that's the whole speech. I'm sure you all have heard it, whether to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous misfortune. So that's, he's making kind of a speech here, except it's about, the dead. It's even more macabre than the Hamlet speech. And it's right after a Yoren chapter with Arya.
Somebody banned Grey Waste Tim from the chat. He knows too much. He's exposing my whole racket. Yes, Sean sent me notes. Yes, you sent me notes. I don't do anything. I just call you guys. You guys do this. I sit here and shout and about squishers and stuff, and that's the channel. That's how it works. Thank you for doing my work for me, and thank you for exposing that, Tim.
Wow, Tim is going hard here. No, but like I've made a bunch of very imprecise notes about basically just every Night's Watch member that I felt like was worth a damn. But Dave had he had a bunch of notes on his own that we put in the same document. So he's not doing nothing, guys. He had a bunch of notes on his own that were a little bit more direct in the way that he wanted to steer the
everything that we just did was my notes. Thank you very much. I just knew that Sean would be able to jam with me on all this. Dude, figuring out that Bloodraven and Bran are doing a Gollum Bilbo thing like that, I think that's my favorite. That was a good one. I really enjoyed that.
When you look at the etymology of it, there's some etymology in common between Gollum, Glaurung, and Smaug, basically meaning the same thing, and they're all doing King Under the Mountain things. It's and then there's of course Dol Guldur, which is the same prefix from Gollum, and it's.
What about Sigurd?
Sigurd is
obviously. We're talking about Fafnir being a dragon who hoarded the gold and was corrupted and stuff like Smaug.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I don't remember the etymology.
It's really Fafnir's name that would be relevant, but okay, sorry, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Glaurung and Smaug are basically together. They're basically Fafnir in Tolkien's world. So, and Tolkien's on record as saying there are only 3 true dragons in fiction, and one is Fafnir. So it's and another is the dragon from Beowulf. So he was he gate kept dragons to a huge degree.
So Yoren, just since we're here, you got this cool quote where Emery Lorch is fed to the bear in the bear pit. And Arya's like, the bear is black, just like Yoren. So is that a Yoren thing? Like, the Bjorn the bear is killing Emery Lorch? You're muted. Again.
I keep doing. God, it's not a good day for that. But I hadn't really thought of it as like a Beorn thing or a Beowulf.
It's right
thing.
there, though, isn't it?
Yeah. What I had thought was a bear in all black is a better description of Jeor Mormont. And this is literally within one chapter of Jeor doing his Yorick thing with the skull.
So there you go. I mean, there's connecting Yoren and Bjorn and the bear and all this together. And this is George's literary alchemy. This is how he does it. So that's pretty cool. I wonder if the name Yoren actually goes back to that same root. In fact, we should look that up. Or maybe just look up Yorick and see what that means. Fafnir seems to mean the embracer. Oh, that's a standard dragon, and that's like Varitra, the encircler.
Yeah, it's a classic serpent, type thing. Because serpents wrap around you. Dragons are all rooted in serpent mythology. They just added legs and wings to make them more terrifying.
Yeah, but that's some Proto-Indo-European stuff. So yeah, somebody look up Yorick and see what Yorick means.
Well, I think the operative is yore, meaning long, long ago. So like the days of yore. You've heard the phrase, I'm sure. So when a lot of Yoren's scenes are representing long night scenes. Like their scene where they're defending, what was it, a mill or something, and then they're defending a tower. Mm-hmm. As like the little mini boys of the Night's Watch. It's and they're all doing long night things.
And what is Jormungandr? How's that one break down? Do you know that one?
Ooh, that is like not quite a kenning, but there is a big etymological backing to that one.
Let's get that while we're doing here. Yeah, that'll probably add to the picture because he's using that Jormungandr quite a bit. With the horn of Jormund. The idea of Jormund being a king beyond the wall is more foreshadowing for Jon being a Cold Hands in the future. Because Jormund is Jormungandr. That's a dragon king beyond the wall. That's Jon. He should have been a dragon king, but won't be. And he's going to range beyond the wall like Cold Hands. So I think that's.
So
I forgot to say that in the Cold Hands video that Jon is going to be the new Cold Hands by the end of the story, but I still think that's.
Oh, he will. That was one of the earliest things that I was completely convinced of, is that Jon would end up beyond the wall. But
So Yorick is a variation of Joran, and means harmony.
Interesting. I have some Jormungandr information here.
The Grand Jotun. Jorm is in Jotun and Gander is in Grand. That's what Steerpike says.
Good.
Is that what you found?
I found some other stuff too. So like there's some conflation with things like snakes being wrapped in tree branches, and then snakes being called tree branches because that's where they are.
Oh, with the various titles and names, yeah.
Right. So, and then that's why you get things like the caduceus, where it's, a wooden staff with snakes wrapped around it. So one of the translations is like a great staff, a magical staff is a Jormungandr translation. There's also the earth necklace, since the world serpent encircles the world through the oceans. So they're like I said, not really kennings, but it's close. It's kind of a similar idea.
Yeah, somebody's saying Gand means staff or magic. That would make sense. Gandalf with the magic staff.
That is where that comes from. Although Gandalf is actually a dwarf in the Eddas.
Okay, so going back to the caduceus, right? That's a snake wrapped around a staff, so that's still a magic staff idea. So that all makes sense. Jormungandr wrapped around the world tree. That's exactly how he's drawn.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to find that in every mythology. You went deep. You were talking the other day about finishing your Zodiac, Sons of Garth the Green. And one of the things you went big on was like not in the Zodiac. It's the secret 13th house of the Zodiac with Ophiuchus, who is
serpent
he's
bear.
The giant, the giant with a serpent wrapped around him, who's sometimes portrayed as kind of a tree. So,
yep. And I also think it relates back to like Lightbringer, Lightbearer, and the last hero being, an Azor Ahai figure, a Lightbringer. Arya sees a leaf-bladed weapon in the House of Black and White. Are the Faceless Men a Night's Watch gone wrong offshoot? Not literally. Leaf-bladed weapon. We did a whole symbolism of the House in Black and White stream, but they're symbolizing everything that comes out of the Weirwood net. So there's others and Night's Watch symbolism, but I wouldn't think that they're related to them directly.
Yeah. If you're faceless, you can steal other people's faces. You can basically, morph like a changeling. There's some fae in there, but it's also just like it's skin changing when you take over somebody's body. So faceless men like Jack and Hagar, who comes out of the weirwood tree and says the gods will not be mocked. It's all skin changer green seer stuff all the way down with the faceless men.
So then we've got okay. And Greyways Tim, pipe in on this one. There is a quorum of the Silver Hand. That's a different version of Elric. So Elric is the eternal champion in Moorcock, and there's different incarnations of the eternal champion. One of them is Corum, a prince who lost his hand and got a silver god hand. So that's like Nuada, and also kind of like Jaime. And then, Corin is Halfhand. Oh, that no doubt is a reference to Corum's silver hand, who has lost a hand. That's good.
Yeah.
That's really good.
But that's definitely a thing.
And that makes even more sense that he's like parallel with Jon, because Jon is an Elric figure. It's going to look like Elric by the time he's done.
George loves Michael Moorcock. Big fan.
He loves Moorcock. You heard it here first. That's slide right by you?
Yeah, no, I mean, you passed me on the elevator there.
I stuck you with it. All right. Give him the pointy end, Sean. Although if it's pointy, you might want to see a doctor. All right. Maester Aemon. Of course, he is a dragon and a blind seer, which is an archetypal thing. He works with all the ravens, obviously. And so he's the messenger. He's a bit of a shaman figure, being blind and like, yeah, carrying these messages from the ravens who are, carrying the dark words of the dead. And what's this quote here?
So this is actually from the World of Ice and Fire, and it's talking about the Children of the Forest and how Maester Aemon found these reports of trading with the Children of the Forest to be credible. So this is highlighting a literal relationship between the Children of the Forest and the Night's Watch. And this may be the only direct confirmation that we get of it. Because we do talk about how, the last hero sought out the children, and then it's implied that the last hero founded the Night's Watch. But this is direct relationship between the Children of the Forest and the Night's Watch.
What were you calling me, Tim?
Yeah, the chat wanted me to call in and dump this tinfoil thing about that I said about Cold Hands being Jon Snow.
Is that sound coming through pretty good, Sean? Can you hear him?
Oh, I can hear him. I'm listening.
Yeah. Okay, fire away.
Okay. So in your Cold Hands video, you mentioned the possibility that Cold Hands might be a resurrected Night's King.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, and I've talked many times about when Jon first introduces himself to Ygritte, he tells her his name is Jon Snow. She says, "Oh, that's an evil name," and I've always been like, "Why is that an evil name?" And then I always come back to maybe Night's King. If Night's King is a Stark, maybe he's actually a Stark bastard by the name of Jon Snow. And then so when Night's King is taken down by King Brandon the Breaker, so Brandon the King of Winter and Jormungand. So if Cold Hands is Night's King and his name was Jon Snow, then when he introduces himself as your monster Bran, he's conflating our Bran with the Brandon of his time, Brandon the Breaker who killed him. And so that's like a twofer. It shows both Jon as a Night's King figure and King Bran as our endgame.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so when he says, your monster, Bran, it's because there's also those times where you mentioned too in the video, like Cold Hands kind of like forgets that he's dead.
Right.
So what if he's looking at our Bran and seeing the Brandon of his time?
Oh, right.
That would be King Brandon the Breaker, and if he's a Stark bastard, Jon Snow, half-brother of King Brandon the Breaker.
That definitely makes sense because when Jon has his Azor Ahai dream, one of the things he does is he slays his brother Robb and says, "I'm the Lord of Winterfell." And so it sets up this pretend I'm fighting the Lord. And he was also going to invade Winterfell before he died, like the Night's King. There's a lot of Jon Night's King parallels.
Yeah, but this is it's a Jon's Night's King and King Bran. So King Bran, King of Winter, but then King Bran, our final king. It all meshes together. If the original Night's King is Jon Snow and he had to be taken down by Brandon the Breaker, then that symbolizes Bran possibly having to wrestle Jon back to the world of the living.
Well, yep. I like it even if his name is not Jon.
That's what Chad wanted me to chime in with when they said I needed to expand on it. But yeah, I think Night's King, Cold Hands, is Jon Snow. He's just it's a millennial old Jon Snow, Stark bastard, and he's referring to Brandon, his creator, his monster, as Brandon the Breaker, and the dozens of other Brandons throughout history.
That's cool. That's a new spin on like Night's King wasn't exactly just a villain that needed to be thrown down, but like, yeah, okay, that's something more complex as a relationship between Bran.
Heart in conflict with itself, brother I love, brother I hate it, yada, yada, yada. There it is. Two brothers having a fight.
Well, you've brought up the Blackfires, so I'm going to hang up on you now. And this is what our real phone calls are like, by the way, just like this. And I've got something more for you, Tim, but I will reply to you off the air so that you can turn the sound back on and hear what Sean says, because Sean had something to put into. But thanks for calling in. This was great.
Yep, no problem.
All right.
No.
There's a Tim Foyle segment. Sean, what were you going to say?
Yeah, look at Tim. Hey, longtime listener, first-time caller. My name is Tim Foyle, And
No, he's way too serious to have done a joke like that. You would have done that, but Tim's just right to the point. Go ahead.
Yeah, I would. I have problems being serious, but yeah, I like it, even if his name is not necessarily Jon, because one thing that you brought up is that he was about to invade Winterfell, which is being held by Ramsay Snow, another Snow. So we talk about, like evil name. We talk about the idea of like the Night's King being a Stark brother of the one who ruled in Winterfell. That would still work if he was a bastard. And again, we see Jon Snow as like this Night's King figure who becomes Lord Commander of the Night's Watch. We have another bastard who became Lord Commander of the Night's Watch, Brynden Rivers. So we're kind of seeing these ideas played out over and over again. And not to get on Blackfire with Tim, but that's a similar idea. It's, bastards fighting legitimates, and yeah.
Well, I was just going to say, Cold Hands definitely seems to foreshadow Jon. So that would be, the more parallels between them, the better. Now here, I got something for you, Sean. You'll like this. Jeor Star, Brandon Stark. Jormon Star, Brandon Stark. Jormon the Dragon Star, Brandon Stark. What's going on there?
I do like it. I wish you'd wrapped it. Like that's fantastic. Yeah, I mean, it has star in it, Mon, which means, hill or mound or the world. So it's, it's doing all of the linguistic things that I like. So, yeah, no, that's
or even just
good.
Jormon Stark, Brandon Stark.
Yeah, Jormon Stark.
And maybe Jon is just a shortening of Jormon. We should think about it like that. Because Jormon is the king beyond the wall, named after a dragon. I just said Jon's going to be kind of like King Beyond the Wall, who is a dragon when he's the new Cold Hands. So Jormon Stark, that's Jon Stark.
Well, and a little more fun, I think Jon is going to be named Aemon, which is a dragon name. But it's also, we have the King Beyond the Wall, Mance, whose son is Aemon Battleborn.
Aemon Stark is a monster. Aemon Star.
Yeah.
Where's Ravenous Reader? I hope she's watching this stream. This is her shit right here.
Yes.
Aemon
Tell us
Stark.
Right or wrong, Ravenous Reader.
Because Bran says your monster. Coldhands says I'm your monster, Brandon Stark, because he is undead. Jon's going to be undead, so he's going to be a monster Stark. And he has parallels to Baby's monster, because Baby Monster's mother is Gilly, as in the blue Gilly flower. She's a Night's Queen figure with a blue flower name. Jon's mother, Lyanna, Winter Rose's Night's Queen parallel figure, blue flower name. Monster supposed to be given to the others. Jon is the prince that was promised to the others and will be stolen by the others. So yeah, I would say that this is a big, big clue that Jon is Aemon Stark, who is a monster. That's great.
I have to throw this in there because I've been doing this all day, but Samwell Tarly being with Gilly is pretty perfect with a Gilly flower because Samwise Gamgee marries Rosie Cotton.
So it feels like we're cooking, but really George is the one who was cooking here. I mean, look at this shit.
Yeah, he was about it.
Lancelot in some tales discovers his real identity in a castle called Dolorous Guard or Joy. I thought it was Joyous Guard.
So it was called Dolorous Guard, and then when he defeated Brandon and took the castle, he renamed it Joyous Guard, and he found an inscription that said a secret prince would be the only person able to defeat the evil Lord Brandon. And that's how I found out that he was secretly a prince. So yes, there's a lot of George R.R. Martin in here.
And Dolorous Said is the one who's telling Jon about what he's going to be, a dead Night's Watchman. It's literally Dolorous Said who's telling him about his identity. So that's interesting. And the Tower of Joy is where Jon was born, obviously. And then Jon probably will discover his identity in the Winterfell catacombs. Absolutely. That's what all the dragon under Winterfell stuff's about.
Well, in the clincher here is that let's see, this is after the Chrétien de Troyes, Arthur. I'm forgetting. I think this is the Vulgate cycle, but the idea is after he did all the adultery stuff with, God, what's her name? The Queen. The castle was taken from him and renamed Dolorous Guard again.
Oh, right. Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
The chat is enjoying the Rosie Sam Gilly Samwell thing here, looks like.
Okay. I'm glad you liked it. Guinevere is actually where we get the English name Jennifer. Guinevere being the Welsh version of it. That's how Jennifer came into English. And so when we talk about like Jenny of Oldstones, she's doing a lot of Guinevere stuff for a reason.
Tiresias is saying Mance, it could be Maester Aemon's son. I think he is. I think that, no, not Mance. I'm sorry. I was thinking of Craster.
No, Craster. Craster theory. I don't think Mance could be.
No.
Just from a numbers thing. I don't think Maester Aemon, he would have been firing blanks by then. Mance isn't that old.
And he's not, yeah, I don't know about that. I don't want to dismiss it without looking into it, but I thought you were talking about Craster. I read it too fast. I definitely think Craster should be a Targaryen because it's Targaryens that do the Night's King thing and give their children to the others. Like that's ultimately the archetype of it.
Right. And Crater Keep. It's all very perfect as the, meteor dragon children. But, yeah,
no, I mean, the scene with Aemon talking about a child that he held, that's Craster. I think that's Craster.
What Aemon talking about a child that he held, it was Egg's son. He was remembering way back, like 70 years ago. That would have been like 40 years before Mance was born.
Guinevere means white phantom in Welsh. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. Well,
the Bran the Blessed story, he has a white phantom lady that comes to him.
White phantom is the etymological translation. What it's used as is ghost. And that's the point, is like Guinevere was supposed to be the reflection of Morgan Le Fay, and they're both supposed to be kind of fey.
I see. So yeah, we have a Discord, guys. If you want to join, all you have to do is sign up for Patreon or YouTube channel member Squisher, and you'll get an invite. And if you're low on funds, you can actually sign up on the free tier of Patreon and still get access to that. I need to post a new link. I have to post it once a week. But yeah, I will post the Discord invite. And it's just a great place to talk about all this stuff with a lot of the people that are in the chat. Everyone is nice and just trying to nerd out on Ice and Fire instead of owning each other with retweets or whatever it is that they do on the internet. So yeah, I don't even know what you call the Reddit sniping, but we don't have any of that here. So come on in. Water's nice. Kind of like an old time bulletin board. Yeah, it's really classic stuff, really. All of us are 30s, 40s, at least a lot of us anyway.
This is not like the AOL chat rooms. You're safe here.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I think so. You never know. Everyone's under an avatar, but yeah, so far it's been real nice. And
I've been left unattended in the Discord, but we've mostly escaped disaster.
Erica says she won't let you get bullied. Yeah, our mods are great. And thank you, mods, for, holding it down. So Donald Noy, he's a blacksmith, and his name Donald comes from Donner, which means thunder. So it's more Storm Lord. He was at Storm's End under Robert Baratheon. He made Robert's hammer. Okay.
So he was at Storm's End when they were, eating rats and stuff. And then there's a persistent theme in the Night's Watch of cannibalism. You brought it up a number of times, Cold Hands and them eating
Craster sausages. Yeah.
They talk about, getting trapped beyond the wall, and then they're all freezing one by one, and then they ate one of them, and, all that kind of stuff. So like Donald, there's also a Donner Pass thing going on here.
Oh,
yeah. Like Donner Pass for the uninitiated, Donner Pass is in Nevada. And when people were going out west, they would have to go through Donner Pass unless they went really far around. And one time it froze really bad, and the Donner party got stuck there, and they ended up engaging in some cannibalism. It was a little messed up, but
It's a cannibalism story.
Yeah, cannibalism in the real world. Yeah.
Do you think the Tower of Joy and Nightfort are supposed to be mirror events of each other? Well, absolutely, in the sense that like we've got a Night's Queen and her baby and some white shadows. And the last hero shows up with his gray shadows or black shadows, and they're fighting and they steal the baby. Yeah, it's a whole bunch of Nightfort stuff. Absolutely.
It also plays very well into the kind of switching of motifs, where the Nightfort starts out as in your theory as a like a green outpost, and it's centered around a weirwood, a white weirwood, which is like a type of white tower. And now it is a black fort, a night fort, like Castle Black. They're all named very similarly for that reason. And so kind of changing that motif, that is also a Dolorous Guard to Joyous Guard back to Dolorous Guard thing.
Very cool. Of course, Donner, also one of the reindeer, Santa's reindeer, but that's because he's Comet, Thunder, like the reindeer have names of stuff that's in the sky. Okay. And so
Santa's based heavily on Thor, who rode around in a chariot pulled by his two goats. But like Donner and Blitzen are thunder and lightning. And
that's why Beric Dondarrion is the lightning lord.
Yeah.
So
Dondar the barbarian.
Oh no. Oh God. George, you madman.
Yeah.
He's both Donner the reindeer and Dondar the barbarian. Oh. With the sword. Dundar's got the sun's sword. So does Beric.
And implied cannibalism.
What's that?
And implied cannibalism.
With who?
Beric.
How?
Well, you'd like the whole weirwood tree eating him. Like
oh,
he sits
right. The Weirwood paste part. The Bloodraven analog to it. Yeah. Wow. Oh, George is so smart.
Yeah, man. Like, I have some people in my life who want me to write a book because I'm able to recognize a lot of these things. And I'm just like, there's a big distance between what George does.
Difference between a music teacher explaining a little bit about how symphonies work and Beethoven writing a symphony. Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll get there, Sean. I have confidence in you. I think you could spin a good
maybe. I'd like to write a TV show someday.
No hurry, though. Like all the time you're waiting to do that, you're just learning more and being more prepared. So,
yeah.
Okay. We're at 6. So almost 3 hours deep into this. We are going to finish up this list. I need another quick break. And then we'll come back and try to wrap this up in like 20 or 30 minutes. And then I got to get out of here. My back is definitely hurting. So, here's a little music and we'll be right back. Boy, that Squisher corpse is off gassing something powerful.
Were you eating it?
No. Oh no. No, I'd never. Why, is there something in my teeth?
I don't want to know what party did that.
You were just exactly. That's not the Darna party. That's the that's the Nimble party. I don't know. Crack law party.
Well, Nimble Dick has crabs. What are you going to do?
Hey, now don't be letting out all my secrets. That's a confidential health matter between me and my doctor, all right?
I'm not your doctor.
Oh boy. All right. Let's finish strong here. So Bowen Marsh, he obviously is, I talked about his name being tied to Enoch Bowen and the Church of Starry Wisdom. The Marsh aspect, well, also Enoch, who was, from the Bible, who lived to be super long, super old. I guess the point about Enoch is like he was a human that had communed with God while he was on Earth. And Bowen Marsh, the old pomegranate, he is sort of overseeing these resurrection rituals. But I really think it's more the Enoch Bowen than the Enoch from the Bible. Because the Church of Starry Wisdom priest, like that's who should be resurrecting people. That fits. What did you think of that, Tim, by the way? Just the connection between the idea, Enochian is the angel language. Oh, that's true. He's speaking the ritual words of the ceremony. That does make sense. Thank you, Mary Morgana.
Yeah. I like it. I just in general, I like that we're connecting two things here. He's obviously doing some underworld stuff, which is not a tough sell at the wall. Being the old pomegranate, you've mentioned it a million times. It has to do with Persephone and the pomegranate seeds that keep her in the underworld. And this is one of the guys who wanted to seal up the tunnel at the wall that would keep them there and prevent them from ranging. So that's kind of an idea of like staying in the underworld. But he's also a marsh. So we are equating the ideas of like these, marsh people, the children of the forest being heavily represented in the neck. We got the marshes, in the neck. That's the house in the neck.
Right.
In addition to it being a literal marsh. So kind of equating that with the idea of an afterlife, I think is super important here.
Shout out to the Marsh Wiggles. Dollar said is the Marsh Wiggle, but
yeah.
Aemon is holding his grandson, who is also named Aemon, while thinking of Egg's son.
Saying Aemon, there shouldn't be a D there.
Tiresias, I gotta let this one go. I can't track down the Aemon parentage theory. I'm seriously, like, my back is killing me, and we got a bunch of more Night's Watchmen to work through. Hit me up on Discord or something, and we can talk about this. But I can't follow the entire. Thank you for the super chat, but I can't. I can't take that on right now mentally. And Love to Pisces says, by the way, I'm Pisces, so thank you. Short story for Elric, King in the Darkness, starts with a poem. 3 kings in the darkness lie, Guthrin of Org and I, under a bleak and sunless sky. The third beneath the hill. Well, so that's the king under the mountain. Basically, he's working with those same ideas. It's interesting, Guthrin. It sounds like Gurthang, but it's probably not related. Since they
I wouldn't be surprised if it is. Gurthang, you're talking about the sword from the Silmarillion.
Yeah, but Tolkien and Moorcock didn't like each other, so that's probably
no. But they may both be referencing the same thing. Like Gurthang is basically an amalgamation of different names for Bran.
Oh, okay.
The Bran sword.
They were talking about Monster Gilly's kid being descended from Aemon by way of Craster. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. That's my theory. I was just, it's sometimes 3 hours deep into these things. I'm a little, I'm overcooked. That's what it is. But okay. So yes, you're saying Mel only sacrifices people with king's blood or potentially Targaryen blood. Yeah, like I said, I think the symbolism very much suggests that Craster is a Valyrian. That's why he's a shepherd with white hair. I mean,
right,
practicing incest,
It's as Valyrian as you can get.
It's very Valyrian. And so, that all fits. Yep. Okay. I withdraw my grumbling or whatever it was. I can't right now. What is this? 3 out of 5, 3 out of 4? Oh, well, a bunch of Pisces in the chat. There you go. Nice. I'm
Oh, yeah.
311
No,
like
look
the
at
band.
your little green sea fish over there, just swimming up the river of time.
That's right.
I got my blue barracudas shirt that I wore to the other stream when we were talking about the Green Sea. My Legends of the Hidden Temple blue barracudas. I should just give that to you.
Send it my way. Sounds cool.
Yeah, it's not right for me. I'm a shifty Gemini. I can't be trusted.
Little Miss Darkstar says Pisces are her favorite people. We're lovable. How could you not like us? All right. We're Bowen Marsh. He's the old. We talked about that. Benjen Stark. The name Benjen. It's like Benjamin. It's one of the tribes of Israel. What's the name Benjamin mean? Means God something.
God. But yeah, there's also there's a lot of Treasure Island in the north and in the Night's Watch, and there's a character that gets stranded on an island and he gets lost for like 20 years, and his name is Ben Gunn.
Oh,
And
nice.
he has some parallels with Benjen Stark. And there are some other characters, like the captain of the previous ship that they all served on was Captain Flint. And then, of course, it's Long John Silver who ends up. Anyway, there's a lot of like John has some Long John Silver parallels. It's pretty interesting. Yeah, it's there's a lot of Treasure Island stuff there. And Benjen Stark is playing Benjamin Gunn.
What happens to him in the end?
Well, he escapes, lives, but then like the appendice thing is like that he blew all his money gambling and had to get a real job or something.
That's what Benjen is up there doing. He's gambling. Get a real job. Alistair Thorne is named after, well, okay, so Alistair Crowley and the Old English for thorn bush.
Yeah. So when you add the E there, it goes from thorn, like the thorn of a rose, to thorn bush, which is funny because in that quote you've done a million times of the Night Fort, they say that a thorn bush had taken over the practice yard.
Yes.
And of course, yeah.
Alistair Thorne runs the training yard at Castle Black, so it's a very strong parallel. And it's a plant, a Night's Watchman named after a plant, and specifically the thorn bush, crown of thorns, all that stuff.
Right.
Plants that are like needles. He's up there playing knucklebones with the children, like Davy Jones, bargaining for years before the mast. Okay, you made something out of that offhand comment. That was impressive. Benjen means son of the South, ironically. What do you mean, ironically?
Oh, because he's in the far, he's a Northman from Winterfell.
Well, he's south of the wall, though. Now he's north of the wall. So he is from the south, from the perspective of like the wildlings.
We're all Southerners south of the wall.
Cool. That's good. And then, of course, we do have multiple Alistair Crowley references because there's a Alistair Florent.
Right.
And he's burned. Like a burning bush. Okay. Dywyn, we talked about. The Old Forester is a ranger. He's got the wooden teeth. Yeah, we pretty much talked about him already. Dirk is one of the mutineers. So they became brand food. So that's just like the Night's Watchmen are swords. This guy's name is Dirk. Right. Bannon is a tracker and a ranger. Wounds his foot. They cut it off. He dies anyway. He dies talking about the cold and how cold he is right when Gilly's baby monster is born. So it seems to be like a linked symbolism chain.
It's a lot like Robert and Renly's death and even Jon's.
Yeah, we've done a chapter read on that chapter too. It's pretty in-depth.
Right. Well, you have Robert saying, "Gods, why is it so bloody cold in here?" When he's dying and it's, in the south and very, very warm. And then Renly gets stabbed by the shadow baby and all he can say is cold. And then Jon never felt the fourth knife, only the cold. So it's like Bannon going on about how cold it is as he dies and then they burn him to death. It's very on the nose about these, Summer and Winter Kings.
Yeah, that's also foreshadowing for Jon, too. That's what's going to happen to him.
Yeah.
A cold man that seems to rise in the pyre. Yep.
When they said they should, Craster said they should slit Bannon's throat and be done with it. And of course, that's how Jon dies.
Indeed. We'd already talked about Blackjack. Let's see here. Alan of Rosby. What's the Rosby sigil?
Let me check on that. But I mean, ROS is the root for Rose, so it's
I'm gonna order this pad thai. I need it to be here as soon as I'm done streaming. I'm so hungry.
It's 3 red lines, look like black trees. It's hard for me to tell. 3 red chevronels on ermine, and their words are "no stain on our honor." Their words are loyal and true. Yeah, I don't know much about it.
The name Alan, what's it mean?
Well, one thing that is definitely important with the Night's Watch doing a lot of Robin Hood stuff, just like the Brotherhood Without Banners. Anytime you see Alan, you should be thinking of Alan a Dale.
Oh, that's why there's like Alan the Oak and Fist and Alan the Oak, and there's a bunch of Alan Oak names, like Dale. Okay.
There's also an Aladale.
Oh, you're not. What is it?
There's also an Aladale in the Watch.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Oh, eat on dream, I dare you. What do you mean, Mickey? Eat on dream.
Eat on stream.
Oh, on stream.
Mm.
No.
That's a special fetish for people to see. It's like mukbang. You're like eating on stream and everybody's like tipping you about it.
Unless people specifically want that, they don't want that. It might mean Little Rock. Now, what does Alan mean? We must know what it means. Some say Alan may mean Little Rock. What does some say?
Harmony or deer. Like DEER.
Deer. Okay.
Yeah.
So we found another stag man then.
Yeah. Red Alan, red deer of the rosewood.
Of the redwood. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. The wood that'll prick you and make you bleed. No, I'm not going to eat the Thai food on stream. I'm going to finish the stream and go down and eat the Thai food in front of the birds and make them jealous and angry. All right.
So we went through these next 3: Tom Barleycorn, Yarman Buckwell, Jarman Buckwell. God, I said Yarman. We've been doing this too long.
You can call him that. Yeah, we did talk about him.
Chet.
Septon Celebror, we talked about him. We don't have to talk about Chet, really. We were going to read Chet's prologue.
Yeah.
Would you guys what would happen if you turned on my stream and you saw that we were reading the Chet prologue? Would you turn it off or would you keep watching? Let me know, honestly. That's a tough one, man.
Well, we can ignore Chet just in case it happens, but yeah, Chet is he's got some interesting symbolism, but he's also just so awful. Clytus is good because he's like a super old man, but he's not that old compared to Aemon, so he helps Aemon. And he's half blind, which means he's losing his vision, but if you're going to be very tricky about it, it means he's missing an eye like Odin, and he tends the ravens. So
everyone says they keep watching, but as soon as you moved on to Clytus, I felt an immense wave of relief sweep over me that I didn't have to talk about Chet. So I don't know. I don't know if I could do it. We might have to read a Hot Pie chapter afterwards as like a palate cleanser.
Oh, yeah. Ooh. If only there were a Hot Pie chapter.
Well, the Arya chapters are pretty hot pied out. But
really hot pie fan fiction. Hot Pie X Gendry.
Oh, man. Okay. Squire Dalbridge. Oh, he's a squire that's built a bridge out of He's squired for Jaehaerys. Mm-hmm. He stays behind to hold off the wildlings during Jon and Corin's scouting mission because of his archery skills. But that's like holding the bridge.
Right. Well, in Dal means like valley. So it's like a valley bridge. So you think of like a bridge in the mountains. And which is exactly what happened. He held a bridge in the mountains with his archery skills.
There you go. And of course, Squire is like squirrel. So he's a squirrel man.
Right.
Darion, we talked about him. And Pip, Mummer's Monkey by Alistair Thorne. Together with Gren is a play on Peregrine. Oh, Pippin. Oh.
Yeah. Pippin Peregrine Took.
I just lost my hat behind the chair. I think it's done.
I got one over here for you.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not gonna try to turn around it now. I'll definitely hurt myself. Okay.
Oh, that's good. You don't have hat hair, so it's actually fine.
It's a little bit hat haired, but it's not too bad.
Now
It just sits on the front and back. It doesn't crush the middle, that hat. All right. The Discord invite is going to be expired. I will post a new one as soon as the stream is over, both on Patreon and under the membership tab of the YouTube channel. So just give me like 10 minutes after the stream is ending and I will post that. It expires automatically every 7 days. So I will redo it. Thank you for taking interest. And I look forward to seeing you in there, Love to Pisces. Your comments have been great, so thank you. We talked about Gren. Halder is given the name Stonehead by Thorne, and he became a stonemason with the watch. So but Alder is the name of a tree. So a stonemason here is like, think about the Weirwoods turning to stone, but being carved also. So here's a stonemason, Alder.
Well, I got a couple things for him. Hald, first off, means stone or rock, so his name is very on the nose. But it's a play on Haldir of Lorien from Lord of the Rings. He's the guy who brings all the elves to Helm's Deep in the movie.
And what's Tolkien doing with the name?
Oh, he's from Lorien. Let me look at the linguistics here. Etymology. But I mean, the basic idea is that he lives in a forest. Haldir lives in a forest. He's a green man because he's, a Tolkien elf. But it means hidden man or hidden hero.
Okay, that makes sense. Talking about the stone head and the carved tree heads. Like, yeah, these are all hiding places for heroes.
Well, and you're either, in stone, like a dead person, or you're in a stone tree as a green seer, hidden. So
that's cool. Alder, of course, a great wood for making bodies of guitars out of. Very, very popular there. And then we've got Iron Emmett, betting the Spearwife Black Maris. That's a great couple. I ship them.
That's just a great name. Black Star. That's Dark Star. Her name is Dark Star.
Oh.
Or sorry, Stella. I associate Stella with Maris. Stella means star.
Black Sea.
Maris means Black Sea.
And Iron is black. What's Emmett mean?
I mean, there's another thing going on here is that he's Emmett Smith.
I was about to say this is an Emmett Smith football reference, isn't it?
Yeah, Iron Emmett sounds like a blacksmith, so it's like Emmett Smith.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's really funny. Somebody give me the name for Emmett. What's it translate? It's going to have a great meaning, I can tell.
Oh, it's like this. It's the masculinization of Emma, so it's like short for Emily. There's a lot going on there, but I mean, John basically gives him a concussion when he goes, full berserker. So he is a running back out there.
That's funny. Yeah, Tim's King in Yellow costume is very terrifying. I kind of freaked out when I saw it.
See the costume I've lined up for Silmarillion.
What is it?
Well, it's not terrifying, but you will be shocked.
It means universal.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why it's Black Sea. Iron Emmett. His name means Black Sea too.
Primordial Black Sea. Yeah. Okay.
That's fun. So you just put the two characters together to draw attention to the name so that we know it's not coincidence and not just color.
It's not just having fun. Okay, good.
I mean, he is clearly having fun.
I'm not going to dress up his tree beard. No.
So this all stuff, that's interesting. Iron Emmett and Black Maris. This makes me, since Iron Emmett is a smith, it makes me think of the black Valyrian swords that look like waves of midnight on a steel shore.
I like it because everything about him is implying a blacksmith. I mean, that's why it's also a play on Emmett Smith, because Smith is short for some type of smith. That's where the name comes from. At some point, one of his ancestors. But anyway,
no, it's directly referencing that sword. It's a black sword with waves of midnight in it. Like, that's their whole name together. Iron Emmett, Black Universe, and Black Sea. Like, Iron Universe and Black Sea.
Well, and you brought up the primordial sea of the Chaos Conf a million times, or the primordial sea of pre-creation and all that. But it's also, and you brought this up as well, but it's also space. Like, space is a black sea. When you talk about traveling through space, the way that we've always made that make sense to us is treating it as something that you sail a ship through. That's why all of these shows like Star Trek and Star Wars, when they have people piloting ships, it's always like a ship on the sea. It's always like naval when it's military, and it's always, an intrepid captain with his first mate or first man, like it's always related to ships in outer space.
And Michaela Zald account, also a lot of great comments today, says their names could mean star steel cooled in seawater. So think about the tempering of a star sword in black water. Like, yeah, that kind of fits, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, and it's just your meteor landing in the ocean.
Yeah, which is a motif we see over and over and over again.
Right. That's the it's the weapon of the Grey King, and so that's Iron sick. Emmett, Ironborn, Grey King. Yeah.
Emmett is also a Hebrew name that means truth or faithfulness. That's interesting. I think the universe one fits the setup better here, but that's interesting. Sword of Truth is a thing too, also, I guess. Othor, he's turned into a white, and his name is Othor. So, and then he tries to kill Mormont. He tries to kill Jon. Jon cuts off his arm. Jon dreams of him. Othor gets burned, obviously. Jon dreams of him having Eddard's face. So this is an important guy. Go ahead and tee off on this.
Well, someday we're probably going to do the chapter read on that because it's just huge in terms of symbolism. So I don't want to go into the direct symbolism of his chapter, but one thing that is very important is that this is lifted straight out of the sagas. There is a character named Othor who gets body snatched, and he ends up fighting and trying to kill his brother. So when you look at, this,
that's Othor, wild.
Body snatched by a white, and he tries to kill Jeor Mormont, who is his brother of the Night's Watch.
Now, the name in a Norse myth, the name Othor would be referencing Othor, like Odin, and that the word that means basically magic.
Yeah. Yes, because there's a lot of magical themes going on. It's a white, like the barrow whites in Tolkien. They're based on these magical ghostly beings that haunt barrow tombs. So like this guy was body snatched by a white. That's so it's a lot of Tolkien.
Yeah, and Othor also, the Thur is like Tyr, a one-handed god who got his hand bitten off by a wolf, and Othor gets his hand bitten off by a wolf.
Well, I was going to say Thor is in it.
Right, yep. And Thor and Tyr actually have shared mythical origins, sort of splitting out of the same god.
Well, yeah, aside from them being brothers, yeah, that is the...
So the way I interpret... Oh, sorry, Sean.
Oh, I was done.
The way I interpret Othor is representing a deep truth about the others. They are Starks in some sense, descended of Starks, just like Eddard is Othor. They are tied to the Night's Watch. Obviously, Night's King was a Night's Watchman, so that makes sense. And the others are very much like twins to the Black Brothers. They are their foes, but also like mirror versions to them. And so we have a White that's a Black Night's Watchman, but he's now an Ice White. So, there's a lot of just sort of... And he's got a moon face as well, so it gives you the ice moon burning. And this is when Jon gets his sword and becomes a hero. So I think this will parallel the idea of Jon being resurrected as the Red Comet returns and we get a new moon disaster to cause a new long night.
But yeah, it's kind of funny with Othor being brought in with Jafer Flowers. It's kind of funny that similar things happen to them. So we have Jafer Flowers. That's the hand that Ghost ripped off. And then with Othor, Jon cuts off his hand. So that's interesting that's similar. They burned Othor, which is the way you're supposed to do it. With Jafer Flowers, they cut him into a million pieces like Osiris. And with a name like Flowers and being from the Reach, he's, there is some fertility symbolism there. So there is some Osiris stuff going on. Also, Jeremy Riker is definitely a reference to Riker from Star Trek.
Uh-huh. What's he do?
Will Riker, he's the...
No, what's Jeremy Riker do that's like Star Trek?
Well, he's kind of he's like the first officer, and with Jeremy Riker, he acts as the first ranger in the absence of Benjen Stark until he's, killed.
And then we've got, and of course, being from the Reach, and he's a flower man, so it's more Green Man stuff. Deaf Dick Follard, he dies fighting the Thens at Castle Black. What's Follard?
That's actually one of the ones I didn't look up. Let me, real quick. Oh, it's from the French Folier, to play the fool, like folie à deux, the two fools, or fooling on two. So, yeah, that's funny. So Deaf Dick Follard, it makes him kind of a jester figure.
Right, yeah. And then we talked about the Garths already. Oh, sorry.
Right, Team Garth.
Garrod, that's another Garth name. He's the one that flees the others in the prologue and then is executed by the King of Winter on a tree stump. So that's another Garth executed there. Mm-hmm. Jeff is called another squirrel?
Yep, he's a squirrel.
There's two. Sweet Donald Hills, that Donner Thunder name again.
Yeah.
Thunderhill, it's almost like Underhill. Old Young Henley. What's the name Henley mean?
I don't know. I've kind of thought, because it's spelled the same way, that it's a reference to Don Henley. But, American Pie and all that. Like, American Pie is fantastic symbolism. George loves that song. But, yeah, I don't really know how to go from there. Is also, with the Eagles, but yeah, I don't have anything super fleshed out for there.
We talked about Harry Hal,
Right.
Maester Harmoon. He's the one that sends the report of dead things in the water. What's Harmoon? Like harmony?
So Har is usually used to mean like mount, like Hebrew, it means mountain. In Sanskrit, it's associated with Shiva. It's part of his destroyer title. But Old English, it means hinge. So these are all things that work pretty well at the wall, with the wall as a hinge of the world. Har Mooned, it's like, mountain mountain.
Right, like Mund.
Right. But yeah, this guy, he's interesting. He's a drunk, and that's usually playing with the drunken fool prophet type idea that George likes to play with a lot. But yeah, he's running things for Cotter Pike, who is illiterate. Dead things in the water that was over the top. That was too obvious. Everybody noticed that, George.
And then Hake, I don't really know what to say about him. He's a cook. I don't know what Hake means. Clubfoot Carl, he's part of the conspiracy.
Hake just means hook.
Hook the cook.
Yeah, which I don't know. Like it could be combining two different pirate motifs.
Oh, Hake is a fish, people are saying.
Well, Long John Silver was the ship's cook in Treasure Island. So I don't could be combining the two, but I don't know. I tend to think it's more just not anything serious there.
What's the idea of a clubfoot about?
Well, we mess with that a lot. So we have like Laris the Clubfoot, and this Clubfoot Carl is part of the conspiracy to kill Mormont in the mutiny. So obviously Laris is big on conspiracies. That's basically all he ever does. But Clubfoot is just another type of like somebody who's lame. So you have like a Lothar the Lame. You have a bunch of like lame people. Lothar the Lame is also the architect of the Red Wedding conspiracy. So I think it's just like green seers who did something terrible, because you look at like the idea of people who can't really walk right, like Bran, like Bloodraven being green seers, and then something terrible has to happen. It's not a tough sell for Bloodraven, but it's something that we see out of all of these Clubfoots.
So Sean, I'm gonna have to tap out here. I'm just about finished. Is there any of these on this list that we can highlight as being significant to what we're talking about as going through all of them? Because I don't have it in me.
Sure. We are actually almost done. So I would say Leathers and Duncan Little are probably two big ones, and we could probably skip most of the rest.
So Leathers is a wildling. Obviously, Leathers, the name suggests skin changing. He speaks the old tongue. Translates for wound.
Becomes the master at arms for Castle Black, despite a lot of objections from a number of Night's Watchmen. He seems pretty trustworthy, but yeah, he's an interesting guy. Him as a translator, that's a significant symbolically and in the story.
And then Duncan Big Little.
Right. So he's Morgan Little's older brother. He took the Black. That's the main reason why he's significant, but his name being Little, but his nickname being Big, it's Little John. We're doing some Robin Hood stuff.
That's cool that he's at the wall.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that eldest born Little was there.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, there you go, guys. Symbolism of the Night's Watch, with a focus on the green zombies. I hope you've enjoyed the video. And like I said, check out Sean's channel. Make sure you sub to my channel. I've got cool stuff coming. The unnatural conception of Maegor. And yeah, that's it. Thank you for coming. Thank you, Sean. Ouch, my back. See y'all later.
Yep.